What else we got? I'm going to bed. I want to see some Jubilee. Let me see where society's. Where is society at? Jubilee. Let's see how gross the world has gotten.
We're trying to throw.
Okay. A lot of landmines here.
People have been queer since the beginning of time.
They have. No one's denying that.
And people have acted upon that. There's poetry. There's erotic, homosexual
That's a
poetry.
sin. If you look at every other religion, that's a sin in every religion.
No, it's not.
Cope. Let's go, Moses. Let's go.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. A good Muslim woman wears a hijab.
Hell yeah. A good woman is covered up with the head, whether she Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. She is covered up if she's a good woman. Period. End of story. Mother Teresa. Let's fucking go.
First thing I want to make clear is that a Muslim woman who doesn't wear the hijab, that doesn't mean that she's not a good Muslim. The reason that I step forward...
It means she's a fucking lying woman.
...is because that means that this woman has taken on the challenge of going out every single day, wearing a headscarf and wearing the proper clothing.
Fake, cope, lame, kind of gay.
When they go outside wearing the hijab, everyone that looks at them knows they're a Muslim. It's an extremely difficult task that neither me or you will ever understand. But I have an extreme amount of respect for any woman who wears the hijab properly.
Yeah, of course, I agree with you 100%. You know, I look to the Quran, which is our book, and the Sunnah of the Prophet, which is like the way the Prophet lived, peace be upon him. And what does it say about the hijab? You know, hijab is something that's ordained for women in the Quran. You know.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
So I think that one of the main reasons why I disagreed is because of the statement, a good Muslim woman, and I think that you can be a bad Muslim woman as well and wear the hijab. And then also the hijab is not just limited to the headscarf, it's how you dress and how you carry yourself as well.
I was gonna say, so I actually have a question for both of you then. Let's say you meet a Muslim woman, you marry her, she's wearing hijab, but one day she says like, hey, I don't feel like maybe I want to wear hijab anymore. I guess like, what are your thoughts be on that, on her decision for doing that?
It's about finding out why they were wearing the hijab in the first place. Like, was it forced upon them by their parents, or was this something that they came to the conclusion themselves that, oh, you know what, I believe in Islam and I believe it's said in the Quran about wearing the hijab.
Where do you see in the Quran that it requires hijab?
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقُولِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنَّ وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُورِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. So here the word khimar, it doesn't use the exact word hijab, but the word khimar means headscarf.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess for me in how
She said, yeah, that makes sense.
read the Quran, the translation that I have, the word isn't required, it should. That women should cover their heads and cover their chests. And so that's why I hesitate with saying that it's an obligation, because it's more of a, I would say, should isn't must.
So personally, I guess I just took the prompt too literally. I mean, I consider myself a good Muslim, alhamdulillah, but I don't wear the hijab, obviously. Even if the Quran doesn't specifically say
hell, you're going to hell. You're going into a lake of fire, okay?
that this is required. The interpretation of the Quran has said that it is required, and I do believe that. I know it seems kind of contradicting that I'm a conservative Muslim and I don't wear the hijab. I don't.
You cannot be a conservative if you have ovaries. Sorry, that's not how politics works. I know you're coping. John, are you joking? Sorry, it just doesn't work that way. Nope, never, not even once.
I think I'm ready to kind of wear the hijab yet. I want to wear the hijab. I need to wear the hijab.
Acting on homosexuality is a sin.
Everybody should sit here. Even my gay friends say it's a sin. I'm like, why? They're like, you should see how we do it.
I believe that acting on homosexuality is a sin, especially like if you were expressing sexual desire, because that should take place between a man and a woman under the sanction of marriage. So that is the reason why I do feel as though it is a sin.
And it's pretty clear in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَتَأْتُونَ الرِّجَالَ شَهْوَةً مِّن دُونِ النِّسَاءِ. Do you guys prefer men over women when he's talking to the people of Lut? And the Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that one of the biggest problems for the ummah is the sin of Lut, or the people of Lut.
Again, we could just all agree, this is now our personal...
Every single holy book said, bro, stop being gay.
opinion or anything. It doesn't, in the end of the day, when it comes to religion, our personal opinion doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. This is what God ordained for us. This is the natural way of humans. Once we start diving in and wanting whatever we want, it just, where does it end at that point? When is it going to come to incest next? For instance, in America or in the West, homosexuality 30 years ago wasn't accepted, or 40, 50 years ago. But now it's acceptable. This is the liberal ideal, right? The subjective morality, it just shifts. It shifts based on the time. We don't shift in our religion. My question for liberal Muslims would be, who dictates objective morality? Islam, as God tells us in the Quran, is a religion in the middle. So it has some aspects that you have to believe in from God and some things that are a little bit more leeway for you. We have to understand which ones are which.
May I start? Yeah, I don't believe that acting on homosexuality is a sin at all. There's so much to get into. In the story of Prophet Lut itself, you see that they weren't condemned because the people of Prophet Lut were coming to his house to have sex with the men who were disguised as angels, but you can look at it as a condemnation of rape and abuse itself.
Yo, bring Modine in this bitch. I summon Modine.
And mistreatment of strangers. And the Quran verse that you cited as well, within that verse, Allah uses the prefix al, which means the, and there's interpretations that exist that say that specifically is talking about those men specifically who leave those women specifically. So meaning that those men who did that had wives that they left to go rape these, or try to attempt to rape these guests in an attempt to bring humiliation upon the Prophet and sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
Why?
Basically, there's different interpretations of the story of Prophet Lut. One interpretation is that it's about homosexuality, and there are other interpretations throughout history that says it wasn't about homosexuality, but for some reason the interpretation that it is condemning homosexuality is the dominant narrative, and I think that narrative seriously needs to be contended with.
Someone said Muhammad Atta said being gay is wrong. Oh, it's Muhammad in chat. Holy shit.
Because we're saying that being homosexual or being bisexual or being anything other than heterosexual is a sin, but Allah creates you like that. Allah creates people who are intersex. Like intersex people exist in this world. And so I think there's a lot of different interpretations out there about the story of Prophet Lut, and I think the central point in it is contending with the fact that people use sex as a weapon for domination, weapon for humiliation. That's a real issue. And being homosexual, being something that you were naturally created, isn't. My experience being a queer Muslim woman in America has been beautiful. Alhamdulillah, I've met and have been a part of a beautiful Muslim community that is a mix of queer Muslims and not. I don't think I've ever experienced backlash, at least to my face, for being queer and Muslim. Mostly questions or curiosity, but it hasn't ever been anything that felt like hurtful or unsafe.
So there's a couple different points that you said that I want to rebuttal and respond to. So the first one being that you said being homosexual, being bisexual.
You know what's something nobody ever talks about is there's a lot of gay Arabs in the world. You're not supposed to say this part out loud. People get offended. But there's a lot of gay people on earth. Like, I refuse to believe it's like, what percentage did they tell us? I think most men are, I think there's nothing more rare than a straight man. Like, if you wouldn't suck a dick for $1 million, if you wouldn't run a train on a girl, even if a girl, if you can maintain stiffness while there's another man huffing and puffing next to you, then you're gay, Like, so a straight man like me that needs to be alone with a woman, no one else, they can't be another dude in the room, cannot be money or blah, blah, blah. I think men like me are the rarest dudes on earth. But I'm a little extreme. I don't even kiss with tongue because it's gay. So I'm really extreme. Yeah.
All of those things is a sin. First of all, that's incorrect. Being any of those things in itself is not a sin. So that's why when the Prophet is acting on homosexuality, that is the sin. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. He does not burden a soul with anything more than it can take. As a Muslim, you believe that, like you just said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us all, and He created homosexual people with those people with those tendencies for a reason. But at the same time, this whole life is a test, right?
Yep.
And for the person who has those tendencies, then that's an extremely difficult test that they're going to have to go on with for the rest of their lives.
But that's an assumption that is the only test. What if the test is living in a world that hates you, that thinks that you cannot act on a desire of love, of consensual?
What the fuck does kissing with tongue have to do with it? If you kiss with tongue, you're gay. Okay? Like, real men will kiss lip, they'll kiss their girl lip to lip. Right? Think about what you look like. That's cope, bro. I've never tongued anything, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? I told you guys my weird shit, right? I've done the dad thing. I've been someone's father. I've done weird stuff, but I don't do gay stuff. I'll be your father, chat.
Love, but still being committed to Allah. What if that's the test itself?
That's part.
And that's what I think is the test.
And that's, I would say,
and that's the interpretation out there that we're not talking about.
I have a question.
I'm sorry. I would just also like to add, the Quran also kind of is.
Khabib donated $10. A queer Muslim? Brother, this #1 bullshit.
About the nature, right? The nature of life, and so homosexuality, not homosexuality, acting upon homosexuality goes against the nature of why we were born. And so we were kind of like made in order to procreate, right? We need to
But
we need to, that's that's the way of life.
But I would disagree that the purpose of being with someone is to procreate, because in the Quran, Allah says that Allah creates mates for us so that we can find love, tranquility, and peace. And I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people think that acting upon homosexuality is a sin is because of hadith. And in those small numbers of hadith that are like unambiguously correct, there is no mention of homosexuality in those hadith. So, read Homosexuality in Islam by Dr. Siraj al-Haq. He talks about this extensively. Keisha Ali also talks about this. These are both two contemporary scholars talking about this.
These are minority scholars in the way that. Why is
and
this
that's
only,
fine.
Yeah, no. Why is this an issue only now? But now in all of this time of Islam,
it has always been an issue.
No,
it's an issue.
Sure, it hasn't. The climate we live in nowadays, the
people
liberal
have
mindset.
been queer since the beginning of time.
Exactly, they have.
That's what I'm saying.
No one's denying that.
And people have acted upon that. There's poetry. There's erotic homosexual
That's a
poetry.
sin. If you look at every other religion, that's a sin in every religion.
No, it's not.
It actually
It's not up to me for it to interpret. That's why
course it is. So what are we supposed to do?
You look up to the
Quran.
people with knowledge. You look up to the people who have dedicated their lives to interpreting this.
And
In
you
the past
can do the same
1,400 years,
thing,
I
but
have.
it's
That's what I'm
not-
saying. You can't ignore
It's not
all the
just
scholars of the
scholars.
1,400 years.
I'm not ignoring them, but you can't just say they're the only ones who are correct. I just told you two contemporary scholars who have alternatives.
Two compared to thousands.
Sure.
And there's way more who are also thinking about this.
Yeah, sorry, I really appreciate, I know you're all very passionate about this topic, but I think there's not going to be a middle ground, which is okay. I think the point is just to still have a conversation, and I appreciate that you guys are still listening to each other and talking, but we have to move on to the next
Wait, what happened? What happened? What happened? Someone got offended?
The other side taints the image of Islam.
I think that the reason why I step forward is because I feel like a lot of conservative Muslims, as a Muslim revert, have very strong cultural beliefs. That can be very intimidating for somebody who is new to the religion, and it kind of discounts like who I am and my own deen. So that's why I think that I feel that way, just because of the interactions that I've had with like born Muslims.
Yeah, I love that point because for me personally, people who revert, we say revert obviously because we believe that every person is born Muslim, but then they get changed their creed by their parents, right? People nowadays, they have some weird thing like, oh, if I was born Muslim, like they think they're better and they treat them rudely. And this is not the way of a Muslim, right? The Muslim, we accept everyone as they come to the religion, you know?
I was originally born into Christianity, and then I went on to college to study religious studies. And at that time is whenever I found peace with Islam, and so I decided to revert. I think the reason why I consider myself to be a liberal Muslim versus conservative is because I am a revert, and I know that I have so much more to learn, and I'm open to that. I also believe that within Islam you have free will and free choice to make the correct decision. And so I find a lot of compassion for people in that way because I did live life for many years before Islam.
People are so worried about cancel culture. People are so worried about what everyone else thinks. People are so worried about being accepted by society. But who cares? As a Muslim, it's our responsibility to only care about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thinks and not care about what anyone else thinks.
Okay, so I guess why I disagreed with the prompt is because I feel Islam is way stronger to be kind of tainted by a group within it, you know? I may not agree with everything that liberal Muslims think or view, but that doesn't mean I feel like they are like this big negative thing on Islam, because I just don't feel like Islam can be affected by it.
Yeah, I agree that in the fact that Islam itself can't be. The reason I agreed is because the perception of Islam, I feel like that's what's being affected.
I disagree with that. I don't think that's true. I don't think having those different ideologies really taint either side, because it's not like someone's gonna see like, for example, like you might not agree with this, but I support gay rights, right? And I'm Muslim. And no.
You know what these people don't realize is if you just see liberalism as a religion, you'll see how stupid this fucking retard is talking. And it is a religion. It is. It's got an opinion on abortion. It's got opinion on God. It's got opinion on everything. Community, everything. It's just liberal Muslim. It just hurts to read, man. I can't do this.
Always look at me and be like, oh, now, Muslims support gay rights. I'm like, no, it's not true. It's just my personal preference. And that's why I kind of disagree with both of you guys. You guys say personal opinion doesn't matter in religion. I feel like it does at the end of the day, because religion is about who you are too.
Personal opinion is okay until it goes against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said or what the Prophet, peace be upon him, has said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. No one's saying your opinion doesn't matter. Everybody's opinion matters. But in relation to Islam, your opinion isn't going to change the ruling. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that, yeah.
Here's the ruling class made it so liberalism is a buff. You can add to anything, right? You could be a liberal Christian, liberal Muslim, you liberal this, liberal vegan, liberal. They just made it, and it's like so unfair. For other things, you have to replace. But for this one word, you can add it to everything. Oh, everyone has to have this. Sprinkle a bit of this, these rainbow sprinkles on top.
Yeah. But the ruling itself comes from people's opinions. You realize that, right? Like jurists, like that is what you do with the law. You interpret the law and you make a ruling from it based on that.
It's important to kind of like, it's important to note that, you know, people who kind of interpreted the Quran, like you're saying, they're not just like normal people like me and you.
But
They've
are,
kind of like, no, they are, but like those are like scholars who kind of, like you said, dedicated their life to kind of studying the Quran.
Of course. And I think those people are also biased, like everyone, right? Like everyone has their...
I don't think in the case of Quran that can be possible.
It is possible because we're humans. All humans are biased and subjective because the fact that we're human, we have a different experience. I'm going to interpret something or look at something completely different than another human being is, because that's the nature of our existence. It's subjective.
Just to make it clear, this religion is done. It has been perfected as Allah tells us in the Quran. It's not like these scholars are just coming in and changing something new. This is something that we get it from a source. We always have to go to the higher truth. The higher truth is the Prophet and what the companions learned from the Prophet, right? Because if we're just going to go, then yes, exactly your point, you know, because humans are subject on that bias, right? But we get it from the best source, which is our Prophet, right? If we don't follow the Prophet, who are we going to follow?
It's acceptable for a Muslim man to have more than one wife.
I guess for me, I think monogamy is not for everyone. And so I think Muslim men, Muslim women can have more than one partner if it's consensual.
God tells us in the Quran that you can marry up to 4, but the precaution is that you maintain equity between them. And if you can't, then you have to stick to 1. You mentioned that men and women, you know, this is the difference, right? Because only men in this way. A man can marry up to 4 because think of this situation. Say for instance, he had more than one wife, say for instance 4 wives, right? And he gets one of them pregnant, right? Everyone's gonna know who the husband is and who the father is. If a woman has more than one husband, someone gets her pregnant, no one's going to know who the father is. That's not the exact reason, but I'm saying just an example, just to think about it, you know. And in the end of the day, this is because Allah calls us the way.
We live in a vastly different time. We view women differently in this world. Just because that is what the Quran said in that context doesn't mean that we can't interpret it differently now.
Okay, maybe I'm the old-fashioned one, because I always believe I believe marriage is always like a love marriage. I don't think you can love 4 people at the same time. That's just my personal opinion. If you do get married to the person that you want to be for the rest of your life, and a person, you know, you share love with, not someone you just get married because you have, you know, the authority to marry up to 4 people, so.
You could have a love marriage, but you can also have an institution of marriage, and I also think that that's what Islam kind of bases marriage around as well, right? Because even the model modeled after the Prophet, peace be unto him, when it came to him having 4 wives, it was based off of actually merging tribes together, political reasons, and also someone was a widow. So with that being said, I think that it's just different, and I think that that's one of the topics that we kind of have to seek the wisdom behind before we just make it about today's times.
Yeah, can men marry 4 wives, like 4 women? Yes, but you can't. I mean, you can't be
Unjust.
Yeah, you can't be just with all the 4 of them.
The 4 wives have to agree to it too.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to marry someone else, a lot of women themselves don't even want. They're not okay with that.
So yeah, you can do it, but you'll never be able to do it the right way. So don't do it. You know.
Christianity deserves the same scrutiny as Islam.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I think that Islam is very scrutinized in Western media specifically for their practices, because if you are following the word by text, you know, a lot of it doesn't align with what Western values hold. Islam has always been a target for people on the Western side, people around the world, and I think Christianity has always been seen as kind of just like this top of the level religion. It's like, you know, you're a Christian, you're a good person, you can't do no wrong.
Yeah, I think all religions need scrutiny. I think any religion can be taken to extremes. You cannot understand certain things until...
Oh, there's nothing more cringe than when people pretend like the cross isn't the most attacked. Like, I hate when people pretend like Christianity is not the most attacked religion on earth, right? Actually, mine is.
do things that are harmful to others. In terms of Christian history, you had the Crusades, and Islamic history, you also had colonialism as well. So yeah, every religion needs to be scrutinized. We can't just follow blindly.
Yeah, I think the question was hard for me to answer because I don't believe that any religion really needs scrutiny. I think that for me as a born Christian, I can understand why Christianity and Islam are like kind of like looked at kind of differently just based on like rituals and like the way that it's expressed out into the world. But I guess the question kind of just like caught me up with the scrutiny part. Like, what exactly are we scrutinizing and why?
I agree. There shouldn't be any scrutiny on any religion, as because why do I say this? Because Allah tells us in the Quran when He gave the revelation to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, talking to because who were the people in Mecca? They were pagans, right? He told them don't attack their gods, don't say anything bad to their gods. And also when Allah tells us, God tells us when we're talking to Ahlul Kitab, meaning the people of the book, the Christians and the Jews, we speak in a nice way.
I just don't like how Islam gets treated worldwide in the modern sense. I think we're always like perceived as the bad guy. It's always us, you know. It's always attack this, Islam did, or you live in an Islamic country, it's violence, stuff like that. So I definitely think it's unfair how we're always like the scapegoat for religions. I grew up in a more dominant white suburb in Illinois. I suffered heavy racism like every day in middle school and elementary school. You know, the original remarks, terrorist, go back to your country, all that stuff. Growing up as a kid, I was religious, but then as I got to high school and college and started forming my own thoughts, I kind of went away from Islam. I kind of explored other things, but then the last like 3 to 4 years, I started reading more about Islam. I started practicing more because I finally had my own like freedom to actually practice it and not have my dad or my parents like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. So I definitely felt more like comfortable practicing on my own.
The Quran must be reinterpreted for the 21st century.
People who get their feelings hurt by racism, I always wonder, like, are you just weak? Like, people have been racist and I don't know, man. I don't know. When someone's racist, it's kind of like, it's like words, dude. It's not, it doesn't hurt me, man.
Well, I feel like this is kind of like the crux of what I've been saying this whole time. You always need to reinterpret the Quran. Whoever is looking at the Quran, whoever's reading it, needs to interpret it, needs to understand what Allah is telling that person.
I feel like racism should be allowed, right? Like free speech, but you have to warn everyone before you start. So you walk in a room and you gotta announce it in case people are not about it. So they'll be like, oh, I don't like this, I'm leaving. I don't do racism. You gotta tell everyone. There's gotta be a cool down timer too. You gotta like start, you just gotta walk in the room and count, just do a countdown, right? Just 10, 9, 8. And then in the perfect society, everyone will know what's about to happen, and everyone will quickly get their racial slurs ready at the front of their tongues, just in case you get blindsided, attacked by a different race. And then that makes that's like a toxic zone, like warning, incoming toxic zone, right? It's like the opposite of a safe space. There should be racial spaces.
Information, everything that we're learning is about getting us closer to a just future. And in the time of the Prophet, slavery was well and alive. The Quran never outright abolished slavery, but people, through their interpretation, decided that the Quran is leading us to a future where slavery shouldn't be allowed because it's unjust.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Quran as a text is a holy text that should never be changed or out to be written. Like that's off the table. But I think interpretation, kind of we talked about the whole time, matters. I've consulted with different like mosque leaders, different people who actually study Islam, and not once there was like a big overlap because they have their own interpretation of what the Quran is into the modern world. So I just think in general there definitely should be a more modern interpretation.
If there are real Muslims, every woman there would be silent. No, if they're real Muslims, every woman would be at home. Gotcha.
The first thing is, so we as Muslims believe that obviously the Quran is the word of God, and no one is disagreeing with the fact that society has changed. Do you believe that Allah knows the seen and the unseen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew what was going to happen in the future. He knew what was going to happen to society. And when revealing the Quran is timeless. Any reinterpretation of the Quran, I believe, is incorrect, because then what would differ the Quran from the Bible?
And so should slavery still be a thing?
No, but
Okay, the slavery is a whole other topic. Slavery in the time of the Prophet was not the same as the trends, whatever.
Just the act of owning another human being.
That's a whole other thing. They were basically just a servant. They could buy their own freedom. They had rights. They weren't treated like an animal, like how, as we see in our history in America, how it was. This is not what it was.
Oh yeah.
Going back to the actual.
Slavery's only bad when white people do it. Oh, fucking God. So sick. Now he's the liberal. Isn't that funny? Now he took the liberal seat.
Prompt. The Quran is a rahmah in the people. It's a mercy for the humans Allah gave us to, right? The Quran is the words of Allah, right, of God.
In the simplest form, I just believe that the Quran is like a sacred text, and sacred text as a whole just shouldn't be touched. When I think about reinterpretations, I almost think about like amendments in a way. If we believe that the Prophet...
Here's how you unite all these people, right? Just open the door at the back of the warehouse and a Jew walks in, right? This is how you unite this group of people together. Right? They all turn around and they go, "It's the enemy." And that's my joke of the night. Hearts in the chat for all races.
The peace be unto him is the last and final messenger, then whatever he was revealed to him, it is...
Make sure he's dancing too. Okay, stop, bro.
That.
You can't reinterpret everything. Because the second you open up one thing for reinterpretation, you're opening up the whole religion for reinterpretation.
It's not opening up the whole religion. The religion itself is
a
devotion to Allah alone. That is what Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah. That Islam equals devotion to a religion. Islam equals devotion to Allah alone.
Of course.
I love Muslims because they don't do that gay hugging shit.
We're trying to throw a dinner party.
You're trying to throw a dinner party and everyone's going to forget who I am in exactly half a year? Feminists?
I'm Vince Kelvin.
I'm Chris Nappy. I'm a dating coach and pickup artist.
I'm known to make men less creepy.
I understand where the opinion's coming from, but I don't really like the language because it's like objectifying women as like a sexual object.
I'm like disgusted. I'm like, yeah.
You're not entitled to women's attention.
I think he's just trying to sell a product at the end of the day, you know?
This is crazy.
Feminists are broken people. Not even our moms like feminists, right? You talk to your mom about a 2022 feminist and your mom will be like, "Oh, turn that fucking bitch off."
Attract and seduce more beautiful women. Learn how to approach beautiful girls with ease and drive them crazy with attraction. The art of seduction is critical to your success as a man. Right now, already what I'm seeing is a lot of toxic masculinity. The idea that in order to have worth as a man, you have to have some sort of level of sexual conquest. And that drives from a very fragile ego.
Oh, this is what the headphones are supposed to look like.
Been described as the king of makeouts. Is that true?
I love making out, you know?
This is crazy.
Okay, wow. It's a lot of kissing. Jeez.
Dude, that ugly fuck's using black magic.
Who's keeping track of makeouts and why?
Like, I wonder if he has trouble feeling his emotions and like he wants that high of making out with girls to feel something in his heart.
All of those makeouts seem consensual, so...
Bro, making out's so lame. Just be like, "Yo, babe, get off, turn around, and let me hit it from the back." That's what I want. I want I want to feel evil. Fucking make out. The fuck do I look like? 7 minutes of heaven type dude? The fuck? But then, you know, my last relationship, she's like, "Bro, you never once hit it in any other position for 7 months. And you never did anything romantic." And I responded with, "Turn around." No, I did. I didn't. Sorry. That's my bad, baby. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. One day I'll fix it.
Oh, there isn't much that I can say. If y'all both like it, y'all both do y'all thing.
Okay, hold it. Your looks are distracting.
Right, it is kind of weird that 7 months I only hit it in one.
You gotta at least say hello if you're gonna pass by with such cool looks.
Okay. That kind of would have got me, honestly. I probably would have stopped. But like, no.
I really mean it, genuinely. I kind of forgot where I was going. And what are your names? Wait, like a civilized hello. A fast one, though, because I got
Okay, notice these women's body language. They do not want to talk to him. It does not matter that he is complimenting them. They're not interested.
Oh, predator face. Are you okay?
How about you just go to a place where people are open to...
Oh, he's holding on for dear life. Look at his posture.
He is complimenting them.
Look at this.
They're not interested.
How about you just...
Look at him. He's hurt.
Go to a place where people are open to talk to you in the first place. Most people...
Oh, he feels like this is like your dad after he has a midlife crisis and finds some old CDs in his closet and realizes he loves punk rock music again.
they're not interested.
And the kids are not having it.
How about you just go to a place where people are open to talk to you in the first place? Most people that are walking on the sidewalk are heading somewhere to do something and don't have the time to talk to some creep. There's multiple ways to meet people, but on the sidewalk, as somebody's heading to their job or meeting up with a friend, you're not going to get great results.
We cannot meet people on the street anymore. What is that? Where are we going if we put restrictions to where you can meet people?
Girl, some of us got places to be, homie. We got jobs. We don't need to talk to your peacock ass.
Think about it.
You go ahead and continue on to the next clip.
Are you like a bouncer for a club or something?
Are you like a bouncer for a club or something? Yeah, that's gonna work. Yeah, what do you just go after 2 out of 10s and fail? Oh my god.
It's Club Melanie. I've been wanting to come into Club Melanie forever. You guys never let me in.
I'm sorry.
Oh, he just grabbed.
I've been wanting to come into Club Melanie forever. You guys never let.
Yikes, that's a fucking rapist if you ask me. You're literally a rapist by definition.
Let me in.
I'm sorry.
Let me in. That's what you want to say holding a stranger. What could go wrong?
Today I'm coming in.
Today I'm coming in. Wow.
Even if I have to use force. Melanie, today I'm entering your club.
Yikes.
Okay, first of all, if I was her.
First of all, homie, you're a rapist. Okay, you touch someone without their permission. Dude. Go watch my interactions. It's always the girls touching me. They're touching my chest. They're touching my arm. That's what you want. The energy gotta come this way. Fuck, I look like grabbing a stranger, bro.
I probably would have not entertained all of that. To me, it was kind of obvious that she wasn't really trying to talk. So I feel like, you don't have to push it at that point. Yeah, I don't like unconsensual touching. I hate when guys touch me.
You're not entitled to women's attention.
Why do you think she said no thank you so politely?
Because a lot of women are afraid to be aggressive or assertive when stating no. Because again, men have a habit of kind of assaulting us for not being polite enough.
What the fuck is her problem? Although, as much as I defend men on this channel, how would you feel if you're the woman who has to deal with the "where's my hug" dude in your group? You know what I mean? Like, we never talk about that guy. We all have that guy in our "where's my," especially with the new teeth. Where's my hug, chat? I don't get a hug. That hug was too short. Don't be afraid. Squeeze me, chat. Like, we forget
for
how
not
creepy
being
it is.
polite enough.
Right?
Oh, by the way, something smells real good here. What is it? Is it your hair?
Too
No,
much.
it's not your hair. It's right here. Something like right there. Let me see.
Too much.
Normally, when I do that routine, then I go like, but rest assured, I won't bite you because I'm a vegetarian vampire. But most I will do is this. But I'm
Yikes, bro.
not gonna do it.
I'm like disgusted. I'm like crawling.
Don't do that. Do not invade their personal space without their consent. Don't touch people without their consent.
Like he's making it seem like, oh, this is the way you can get girls if you like act like me, but she clearly looks like, obviously like irritated. She looks uncomfortable. I feel bad for her, honestly, at this moment.
I like myself, 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 because I'm sexy, because I'm sexy, because I'm sexy, and sexy women grab my
The fucking losers who take the course.
It's nice. He's like uplifting.
Like, how bored you have to be like, I'm going to this guy's PE class.
Like his male community. I mean, that's basically, I can't really say.
I can't believe there's humans out there who do things I do for my chat. Like, I'll be like, let's go to this. I'll go live and fucking clown this guy. But people do that without going live. There's no motive. It's just to learn.
Anything else, like, it just seems so sleazy.
If they do that every morning, they feel confident. All power to them, to be honest.
Does that one get approval from you?
I get, approval. Minus the, that thing. But everything else, I respect it.
I guess it's cool that you're trying to help people. I think that is very nice and kind from the heart.
Would you be open to meeting Vince today face to face?
I'm good, thank you.
Coward bitch.
Not really. I don't think we'd have a ton in common.
Coward.
A move
saddened, not really surprised. Surprise!
Surprise.
Hello. Hello, Vince. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise, you comfortable with touch?
Only the hands.
Only the hands. I think we're in a day and age where you ask first. And yeah, the videos, it's out of context.
See, if you have an accent, you could just touch people.
You know,
Yeah, 100%.
we got to know that it's out of context, meaning.
Because then people look at you like, I don't want to be racist, but I know in your country it's like different, but you can't like grab my tits here. And the guy's like, I perfectly understand what you're saying. I'm just playing the fool to be a rapist. Not cool, buddy. Not cool at all.
We
But
don't
I
see what
have
happened
seen your
before
other
or
videos,
after.
though.
You have.
I have, yes. As far as some of the dating techniques, it's important to respect each other as people. And I feel like some of the things that you were doing maybe make people uncomfortable, especially as a woman. You don't know when, if I deny this man, if that's going to be the man that tries to hurt me, So it's not always easy to just tell a guy, hey, you're making me uncomfortable.
I lived in Vegas when I was younger, and I was actually approached by a pickup artist, and he tried to touch me as a 13-year-old.
I come from the place of making men more aware of abundance. A guy is talking to you and he does something that makes you uncomfortable, right away because he knows there's more available, he's good with that. So I'm making them gentlemen.
I think it's disgusting, but if I think a lot of men and people out there need help, so I guess it's a good thing that you guys are helping them, but you just gotta, not cross boundaries.
A lot of it is due to a misconception. A lot of people go, oh, that girl is uncomfortable. The girl at the end of the free presentation hired me. She became one of my top trainers. So there's a lot of assumptions. Assumption.
I'm Confidence Chris on TikTok. The reason I think I give good dating advice is because I know what the toxic guy thinks because I have been that guy.
What's your opinion on feminists?
I like to think I'm a feminist. I f with feminism.
Confidence Chris. It's not what you want to hear, it's what you need to hear. Okay. You can schedule a phone call with him for an hour for $250. Okay.
All right, I know this one's gonna be bad because it's a podcast, and men and podcasts don't go well together, to be honest.
As a girl, I can't even name a female podcast. Like, if women are good at anything, it's failing podcasts. They've never once in the history made a podcast worth remembering. I can't name one female podcast.
Be with whoever the f you want to be, right? There should be guys in life that you're like, I f with you, but realistically, you're not that cool, and I'm down to just fuck you. I don't think you should hold back. I honestly don't think you should hold back if you want to f a guy because he's hot and he doesn't have anything else going on for him.
I understand where the opinion's coming from, but I don't really like the language because it's like objectifying women as like a sexual object. Just like I wouldn't talk about a man like that.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to f somebody just because you want to f them. You don't have to
Look how they both agree. Both sides agree on their dumb liberal take.
always be looking for a relationship, and that goes for.
If you just explain to them, hey, I think that forms a lot of trauma in society, they'd be like, I agree, but we should still be able to smash. Right? That's the ugly person's cope. Like, give me more, bro. I want room for more. John, please don't close the gates. I want to join the fucking orgy.
For men and women.
This is gonna sound stupid, but kind of look at them as if it was like you're just your home. You know what I mean? It's like you're talking to somebody and it's like, okay, like we're just having a regular ass conversation.
Yeah.
Treating them as if you've known them for almost a really long time.
This guy enters a trance when he watches his own content. Like, this is creepy.
Like we're just having a
This is
regular ass
second time.
conversation.
Look at this.
Treating them as if
What the fuck is this, bro?
you've known them for almost.
There's nothing scarier than when people watching their own content don't cringe or don't like pick it apart a bit. They're just like, yeah, I'm fucking crushing it here.
A long time, not being afraid to just talk to them like they're a normal
brick.
You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to.
A friend.
Yes, a friend.
Yeah.
Look at her like she's an ugly chick.
Bro, he's laughing at his own. Oh my.
Had me until the end. Promoting confidence in people, that's great. But like, talk to everybody as if they're a friend. They don't need a.
I only laugh at my own jokes because they're layered for, post-joke laughs. But if it's like a surface level, non-layered joke, then I will never laugh at it.
Be an ugly person to talk to them with kindness and understanding. Like, just get to know people. That's all you have to do at the end of the day.
What would you think if I told you that most of his audience is women?
I can see why. He's attractive.
All right, let's go over our biggest icks for girls. Hygiene.
Okay, one ick I have is when men use the word ick, okay? That's a girl thing. That's for the girls. I'm sorry. Okay, continuing.
No one loves a smelly coochie. You're not a bad You're just a regular white girl from a small white town.
Did you really just say smelly coochie?
Sorry, the BBL's gotta go. That shelf is looking a little sus. You tell me. Come on.
Okay. I'm personally not really for the BBLs, but if women want to do that and want to look that way, then it's not really up to like this person or this guy to decide that it's in or out. I mean, tribal tattoos are out, and he still has these. Moving on.
Okay, do not give away your access for cheap. It's giving feminist.
You hold your access. You really want a guy to like you a lot, you make it hard.
Yeah.
Think about the feeling you have when you hike a small mountain. You're like, all right, I don't care. But like, think about the feeling you would have if you climbed Mount Everest. Now, imagine the same thing about the way a guy was trying to go after you. If you make it Mount Everest, they're going to appreciate you a lot more.
I see the logic.
Yeah, until you actually get to know them. If you're making it hard after they get to know you, you're pretty much getting cheated on.
You know, but I think everyone is different. It's all a case-to-case thing.
I do not agree with that at all. I feel like this kind of video is insidious in its impacts, because it's saying to women like, oh, make things harder. But what that message sends to men is, oh, it's not that she isn't interested in me. That no didn't really mean no. That no actually meant try harder. And that's a lot more dangerous of a narrative.
As dangerous as that narrative is, that's like the 99% of females' fantasies. Is that one where she's like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. And you have to keep playing that fucking game. That's like all of their fantasies. Like, literally, if you ruin the game, why did you fucking ruin it? And they get all mad. And you go, bitch, because I'm not a fucking rapist. The fuck? And you know what I mean? It's like, how is everyone's fantasy the same thing, and yet it's the most dangerous one? Like, the fuck?
Chris, I think you might just be a little young. I don't know how old you are, but some of these things, like don't give away your access for cheap, they just feel kind of like you have blinders on and you're only thinking from your point of view, when there's like so many point of views.
Would you be open to
only a woman can tell you, hey, my fantasy is the one where if you fuck up, if you slip up for 1 second when I'm not feeling it, you go to jail forever. That's my fantasy, John. Oh, okay. You know what my fantasy is? My fantasy is getting in my fucking Uber and leaving this shit. And I always get convinced to do it. The R play, like the extra rough stuff, I get convinced like an idiot. And I go, why is my fate in this bitch's hands? This bitch could just lie about me, right? Like, there's nothing scarier than when they say, oh, when I'm acting up, just beat the shit out of me, John. What do you mean, beat the shit out of you? What are you talking about, bro? Shut the fuck up. Don't say that.
Chris today and talking to him?
Sure. I'd give it a shot.
Oh,
hey,
nice to meet you.
What's going on?
Hi.
How's it going?
Chris.
Thought you'd be taller.
Thanks. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Hello, short king.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Can I give you a hug?
Yeah, you give me a hug.
Oh my God.
I know you only saw a handful of the videos, but
I think I've actually seen your stuff on TikTok. That's why I think I was confused, because I've seen stuff on like your other stuff on TikTok that actually gave really solid advice.
I think that's the issue though, is that like a lot of people do see these like quick things, they make 1 second judgment, and then they're just like, this guy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's the problem with the internet.
Would you say that any of my videos, I think you said that one of them was
NPCs talking. That's the problem with the internet. They clip it. The problem with the internet is they judge you off one clip and not the video. And the problem with society is that people don't talk anymore, chat, and nobody hears each other's side, because I believe all sides should be heard. It's like bot talk. Now, I believe my side should be heard. Your side should be censored and put in jail. That's what I believe with my chat. One in the chat, if you believe that. Huh? Well, you've never heard that take before? You never heard it anywhere on YouTube before? What, I'm a fascist to you? Oh, no. I'm not the F word. I got another F word for you. On Twitch late night. See you in the Discord. I'm kidding.
Insidious?
Not intentionally insidious, but I do think it has the potential to bring the wrong message to the wrong people.
Gotcha.
Which is what I'm saying, like, because like I don't think you come from a bad place.
No,
you don't strike me as one of those bad dudes who's like,
Yeah.
red pill. Like, you're not one of those guys.
That's not my vibe.
It's
Red pill and base till I fucking die, bitch. Fuck you. You are a fucking nobody. You're a nobody. You're a nobody. I have more money than you.
just seems like there might be a little bit of blinders on in certain areas.
That's fair.
I'm saying the F word. I don't care anymore. Fugazi. You are a Fugazi, and that's it.
I mean, I would agree with that. I feel like I hear a lot of these comments like online, but then just like hearing it from people directly is just a different experience. You're like, that's not what I intended. I think hearing all those different
You're short, give up on life, you're a loser.
perspectives, like honestly in a weird way helps me like think about or
Grow.
make the content I
What's
make
gonna
because I'm
help you
like,
grow,
what I'm
little man?
saying is not necessarily what they're picking up, to be honest. Actually, no, that's my new thing is that I'm trying to like date a girl that's like 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yo, can you get that like box of Cheerios for me? And like handle my
What a
business.
liar.
Like,
What a liar, dude. You're intimidated. You're intimidated by a short girl, right? Because she's too close to you. Fucking loser. Fucking see you, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out, bitch. Someone send him this clip. When I see you, little short man, I want to knock you the fuck out. In a video game. My entire face was burned. Okay. Who has the highest SAT score? Oh, let me guess. All right, let me get banned for racism now. Let's try cut. Let's see the last bit of society before I go home. I spit on society. My sober parent and I placed. Yeah, this satanic fucking shit, bro.
What do
Look
you?
at this satanic. Look at this. Ready? Ready? This is Satan's question.
Miss more, me or the bottle? I think we know the answer to that.
The bottle.
What?
You want a quick way to go to hell? Just be a white woman with no God and have a bunch of kids. Right? That's it.
Hi, welcome. Who are you? I'm Echo.
And JC, her son.
My name's Michaela.
My name is Stacy. I'm the mom.
I'm Todd Jr. I'm Todd Sr.
How long you been sober? 9 years.
3.5 years.
I've been sober for 19 years.
I just got sober 5 months ago. Oh my God.
Like, how do you get addicted to something? Like, are you a fucking stupid retard? Right? I've done a bunch of drugs and it's like, go fucking months without it. Oops, I forgot to do drugs. You know, like, it's just retarded. You smoke? Yeah, it's not really an addiction.
How is sex post sobriety?
It was like super awkward.
How is sex post sobriety? I'll be candid with you. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to. You haven't had sex since. Dang.
No.
What about your sex drive?
It's there, but I'm more worried about continuing to love myself because I'm not ready yet.
I would say you think about it more as far as when you're drinking, you don't give a, you know what I mean? You're like, whatever, like, who cares?
How's sex been for you now that you're sober?
It's harder because I have to like be there. Like,
mentally.
I actually have to be joining in on the sex now, right? It's like so awkward.
Oh, wow. God forbid a woman got to do something in the bedroom. Oh, wow.
Ever scare you?
Yes. I remember being 12, 13 years old. When I got home from school, it'd be like 3 in the afternoon and you'd be sound asleep. I was scared that you weren't going to wake up.
Did I ever scare you?
Yeah. When you first kind of got sober and you didn't know how to handle your anger and you would get angry, you would get this really scary voice. I haven't heard that voice in a really long time. Do an impression? Michaela!
What surprised you the most since being sober?
I guess how hard it is to do nothing, to sit in your own shit. And I was like, well, no wonder I drank, you know. On the flip side of that, you get to enjoy everything.
Sobriety gave me like the ability to connect and have empathy for others. There's no way, even at 5 years sober.
I don't get how people become alcoholics, right? Like, there's one time where I was like, I'm going through shit. I'm going to be a cokehead. And I just made like $230,000. I was like, wow. Okay, I'm done with drugs. And now I'm back. Hey, let's fucking go, chat. In and out. It was like a robbery. Like, shoot you. Whoa, that was a crazy year. We streamed a lot, chat. And holy shit, we did it. No addiction. Completely clean. Let's fucking go. I'll see you on the next season of Up My Nose.
That I would have dreamed the life that I've been able to live and give you, I gave you recovery.
You also gave me addiction.
Oh, wow.
What surprised you the most since being sober?
Feelings. When you're an alcoholic addict, you like being numb. Being sober, now it's like all these things, these feelings kind of come out.
Sounds like you were more masculine.
That's my body healing.
Did you ever drink with me in the car?
Feelings are from the devil.
Never.
Just a golden mom.
Just no.
The car was always a great opportunity to have a couple beers on the way home from work.
Oh, sounds like you're a murderer.
At the time. I always remember like peanut butter often being in the car with us. I remember vividly some of my friends were really drunk and they were like, eat a spoonful of peanut butter before you go in because it covers the smell of alcohol.
I totally forgot I used to do that.
Did you ever drink with me in the car?
Yes, lots of times. You remember that birthday party at Grandpa's?
Yeah. He's like having flashback. fucking running over every kid at the park. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like, yeah, Dad, I remember. Have you ever drank? Well, he knows he was drinking. Come on.
Yeah. When we got out the car and you were falling, you fell in the bushes, you know.
I walked into a tree.
Yeah, the tree. Yeah.
Makes me feel horrible. As an alcoholic and an addict, you always feel like I'm not hurting anybody. You know, I'm the one drinking, I'm the one using.
You're the one hurting.
I could have killed him.
Do you resent me for your childhood? Is there something you feel you missed out on?
Resent was a feeling that I held on to for a while, but I think I've reached a point now where I don't feel that anymore. Like, I realized the resent was more just...
What? You're fucked up, bro. Why? Because I made a joke about running over children with a car? Uh-oh. Here we go. Here's round 2. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Oh, no. No. Wait, I gotta back up. I'm kidding, bro. I'm kidding. Don't fucking cancel me. Hold on, I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding, all right? That guy had a problem. I gotta go to bed soon. Okay, I don't care. I'm funnier than Dave Chappelle, motherfucker.
Sadness that I didn't have those years, like hugging you or just having you at like big achievements or big moments.
There are times, you know, where I do let those frustrations come back out, and it's kind of why I lash out at times, even though it's kind of out of nowhere and maybe even a little unfair.
You made up for a lot of lost time really quickly. I don't hold any resentment. I think maybe deep down sometimes I do. Like, I can be very short with you. I don't really know why. That's something that I haven't really discovered yet.
What do you regret from my childhood?
Not being there more when you were younger.
It's the thing that like kills me the most.
Shit's lame as fuck.
Sophia has...
Lesbians rank men from... No. Nope. 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 Oh, degeneracy. Pregnant woman.
Are you more or less horny? Oh, I'm way more. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like a real problem.
Pregnant woman drinks?
Hi, who are you?
I'm Alyssa.
I'm Nikita. I'm Tavia. And I'm Sophie. And do you know each other?
Not at all.
No. Why are you here?
We're pregnant.
So this game is called Truth or Drink, but today we're just gonna tell the truth.
Okay.
Silver edition of the game.
Do you want to go first? Or
I'll go
okay.
first. That's all right. There we go. How did you feel when you found out you were pregnant?
Terrified as shit.
I was hella happy. We've been trying for 2 years. How did you feel?
Shocked. I wasn't trying at all. It was a first date that ended well, and then ended up getting pregnant from it.
This one was planned.
Oh, you planned this one?
Yeah, it's my second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is my first.
Okay, awesome. Welcome.
I had just moved to Korea and I wanted to be there for like several years. And it was with my boyfriend at the time. And I was like, do I stay in Korea? Do I move to America? Are you guys gonna co-parent together? Yeah, we're trying.
You know what? Nobody tells pregnant women this, but when someone finds out you're pregnant, they don't think congratulations. They don't think anything sweet that you think they're thinking. All they're thinking of, they're imagining in their head the clock going backwards, however many months you're at, of when you got fucked. Like, yo, this bitch just got fucked, bro. Like, no, this bitch just got fucked. She told me she's pregnant. Someone fucking fucked the shit out that bitch raw. That's what they do. People clock it back in their heads and go, 9 months? Oh, yeah. So guess what happened 9 months ago, bitch? It's like when people say we're a couple. Boom, boom, boom. Everything in. Anytime someone says, oh, yeah, this is us two, we're a couple, I immediately get flashes of them piping in my head. I go, oh, wow, this is different. This is new. I used to think it was just me, you know, but anytime I'd be with a girl on stream, people would be like, you guys are piping. I'm like, why are you saying that? But now I get it, you know.
Korea's 16 hours away. So conversations are a little difficult. My first was also super unplanned. In the end, he didn't want to co-parent at all. So I did do it by myself, my first pregnancy, and it's really hard.
He decided that he doesn't want to be involved because it is my decision to keep the baby.
We should fuck him up.
Do you want to? We will. Okay. Okay. Are you more or less horny?
Oh, I'm way more. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like a real problem.
More. Which is like unfortunate since it's just, me chilling.
Oh my
hanging
god,
out.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Probably the same.
Wow, that's great. I've actually cried about this.
What are you talking about?
Because I am like upset about like how much sex has changed. Sex was a great part of our relationship and it still is. I just hate that it takes so much more work.
My partner can barely keep up, poor guy, and I'm just like, nah, bro,
Full
let's
speed
go.
ahead.
Let's go. Like, I remember crying and being like, you don't want me because you don't want to fuck me today. And he's like, I'm tired.
Are you having sex at all?
No.
And you won't hit him up for penis, right? Because he won't raise the child. I'm just making sure. I'm just asking.
No, he would be worried that he would get me like double pregnant.
Double pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, he's dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Double what?
What positions can't you do in the bedroom since getting knocked up?
They tell you that you shouldn't really be on your back.
On your back. Can't do anything fun.
Yeah, you can't do anything fun. You can't choke me. We use toys in the bedroom, and like most of the time you want to use toys, you're on your back. You can't really do that anymore. If you want to have like really rough sex, it doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
I would say the only one that I don't really notice a difference is like doggy. Doggy's fine.
The pregnancy position, bro.
We probably have a couple more weeks where we can still do missionary, but then also I'm pretty open still to everything. The only thing I don't like him to do is spit in my mouth. I said that just grosses me out now. So we'll get back to regular scheduled programming after the baby's
Give it a couple months.
Bitch, what the
He's
fuck?
super into my pregnant vibe. Like, we had a session before I came.
Well, who the fuck pipes someone prego, right? Hey, what, babe? You're pregnant? Oh, I guess we're never fucking again. Yeah, I don't do 3-ways, bro. I'm sorry.
I was like, I'm gonna be late.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Do you ever go in there and feel inside of yourself?
No, because it's swollen down there, so I don't even want to like.
It's a magic place. Like, I get why he would want to be in here all the time.
So it changed?
Did
Since
it?
being pregnant?
Oh my God. It's so warm and gushy. It's beautiful. So I
Yeah.
get it. Like, I would want to live here.
Yeah.
He loves when these.
Bro, if they're prego, that means you gotta just constantly get head. You gotta get so much head from her that it pleasures her. I just fucking crushed you, kid, bro. I'm about to go to bed any minute.
Are engorged and gross to me and hurting, and he'll pinch my nipple.
Have you started leaking like when he pinches it?
No,
little
no,
full
not yet. But
circle
I'm really
on that.
excited for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna make him drink it. Breast milk's nasty too. Have you tasted it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's not that good.
When's the last time you pooped solid or had a normal
What
poop?
the
Yesterday morning.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like my digestive system's fucked.
Like you're constipated?
I can be constipated or like it's just like really bad.
For about 2 weeks, I wasn't able to keep down anything solid, no liquids, so
Well, women who take a shit go to hell.
no poop. And everything I eat tastes like metal anyway right now.
Oh, interesting.
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Did you consider having an abortion?
I did, yeah, just because I really wanted to be in Korea and stay there. I was having so much fun with the kids and I was very passionate about what I was doing. But in the end, I kind of decided that there's many women in my life who have had abortions and they regret it. So I decided to keep the kid.
I have had abortions and I don't regret them, but this was my pregnancy where I was the most sick and I didn't debate it, but like in my hardest moments, I was like, wow, I really understand why people.
Bro, if I found out the girl I'm dating takes shits, I think I'll try and fight her. Right? I think I'll challenge her to something. That's kind of like, what the fuck? You were doing what in my bathroom?
Do because I could not function on a basic level.
Being pregnant's rough, and I had a really hard first trimester. Just constant nausea and then just throwing up everything you eat. But my partner's the right person. We had like talked about it. We both knew we wanted to have a kid with one another. Not now, but you know, I can't plan these
Hey,
things.
dude, you're not supposed to take a shit, sweetheart. I'll take a shit for both of us. Okay? I'll take an extra shit just so you don't.
That's awesome. Do you take advantage of your pregnancy?
I do a million times. I moved when I was like 7 weeks pregnant, like, and so I didn't have to lift a box. I was like, I'm pregnant.
Okay.
I can't lift anything.
But how do you know you're pregnant? Okay. No offense, but how do you know? Are you sure?
Weeks pregnant, like, and so I didn't have to lift a box. I was like, I'm pregnant. I can't lift anything. I did research, nothing over 35 pounds.
Shoot, at work.
Well, there's some women who don't know they're pregnant until it just pops out. That's a fucking retard, dude. That happens apparently, right? They're just walking around town and then bonk. Oh, what is that?
I let my coworkers do whatever they want for me.
I'll stick it out more so that like people open the door more and get out of the way. Because also when you have the babies, I noticed a contrast, at least in my experience, people they don't treat you the same. It's when you have pregnant, people are like, oh, you have 2 baby carriers, you have 1 baby carrier and a full arm of stuff. They don't open doors. It's whack.
Do strangers fetishize or
Why would we open doors? You're the one going through mistakes in life, right? Like those kids are your mistake.
Pregnant body, have you considered making an OnlyFans?
Hell no. You know, I have not considered making an OnlyFans, but I do want to put my feet on the internet. I want to do it. I want to do it. I have cute little toes, and as they get a little wider, they're kind of pudgy, and I know I'm going to get the big bucks.
If you take a photo from up here with your belly too, that's a whole new market.
Oh my God.
I know.
Are you worried about tearing?
Well,
Yikes.
yeah. Women in my family have gone hole to hole tearing. So
You know what the sex work is equivalent to, like eating dirt, right? It's like eating dirt. I mean, like, look, I'm not starving, I'm eating dirt. And you're like, you could have just had the peanuts. You don't even have to do all that.
that's freaky.
I tore with both of mine. I did not feel it in the moment. That's not what you're focused on, at least in my experience. Just to alleviate any other concerns, everything goes right back to normal and even better than before.
Did you tear?
Yeah, I did.
How was healing?
Easy, so easy.
Okay.
Like a bee sting down there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you just gave birth, so bee sting is nothing.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear around having a baby?
Pushing him out. I want everyone to tell me that it's like rainbow, sunshine, all that.
I was scratching the hospital, like clawing the wall, like make it stop. Best of luck.
Since I've already experienced it.
Sophia.
That's God punishing you guys for being women. Totally based. High five. God got our back, chat. You guys want to act like a bunch of holes? Yeah, you're going to push this through your fucking vag hole. What the
Tell me about the worst sex you've ever had.
When we're like just getting through it, she leans into my ear and she asks me to crow.
Did you do it?
Yes, I crowed.
Yeah, she was mentally ill, bro.
What's the worst sex you've ever had?
Oh.
Ooh.
Should I really have to describe it?
The worst sex I've ever had.
I don't know, there's a lot of experiences that I truly despise.
In my phone, I have a little black book. There's a person in there that says the worst I've ever had.
Everybody's answer is like when they lost their virginity.
My first time.
Probably the first time, actually.
The first time?
I had no clue what was happening. There was a lot of jabbing.
I'm gonna have sex with your butt, and then you're gonna have sex with my butt. I would never do that again.
Volatile combination of excited and anxious.
What's the worst sex you've ever had?
What are these things?
I've always just thought of like, damn, that's an hour. Like, wish I was watching anime or something.
Never had bad sex.
Sex is pretty fun.
I don't really have bad sex.
Did I hear you say you've never had bad sex?
I don't think so. I'm pretty phenomenal, so you know it's hard for me to have had bad sex.
Do you think you've had bad sex? Because some people have been like, I don't fuck bad.
Yeah, you know what? And a lot of people that do that definitely have a story out there. Because they might have been like, yeah, and then the person just hands on their face on the end of the bed, like, never again.
Worst sex you've ever had?
I had some really bad sex with one of my coworkers. The guy that I dated that was like my brother. I hate to say this, it was the only white guy I've ever been with.
A man with a very large penis who thought he could just kind of like lay there and just have a large penis.
I felt like we actually both didn't really want to be doing it.
What's the worst sex you've ever had?
The worst?
Bro, leave the old lady alone.
Worst sex I've ever had.
I've never had sex.
With my ex.
With an ex.
My ex. First husband.
My second husband.
What was bad about it?
The rhythm, IKEA bed, was just like moving the opposite way that he was.
They were really, really bad at what they were trying to do and way too confident about it.
Were you able to communicate that to that?
No, at that point I just kind of wanted to get out of there.
You do what you see on porn, that's still not correct. You still gotta like pay attention to your partner.
If you don't like warm me up to being interested and then you just stick it in and jackrabbit for like 2 minutes and then you're out, like what the hell did I get from that?
I think it's been years ago, and it was a guy who basically was a bunny rabbit.
Men don't know how to fuck.
What's the most embarrassed you've been? Finishing before your partner dies is pretty embarrassing. Bust a little too quick. Short and sweet.
Did she come?
Probably not.
Met this girl on Tinder. We're about to perform coitus, and she's like, all right, like, do you have a condom? And I said, no, I don't have a condom. Do you like mind doing this, Rod? She's like, no, of course, like whatever, just make sure you pull out. And right as I inserted, I was like, yeah, no, I can't do it because I was about to bust. I always think about that probably every time I close my eyes.
Whose fault was it?
Probably me, honestly. I was exhausted from a long day of work, and I fell asleep. During.
After we hooked up.
How about that? Okay? How about that for liberal society? Can we get some spits in the chat for liberal society? Fucking disgusting. I'm trying to eat, man.
I won't soothe your pain.
Need your help, and not just to light a little candle. My gift was to be able to persuade people to give to the Holy Church. Then Rome decides to put me in charge of the Vatican Bank. But I was never a true banker.
I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could dress like that, man. If I could just walk around town. Is there a costume that looks authentic where I can pretend to be a Jesuit and do YouTube videos? Or is that, am I going to jail for that? Like, what, how bad could it get? Like, some people want to be cowboys, some people want to be, I just want whatever this half cape is with a cross and that thing on my head. That's all I want. And I want to walk around town and do, right? It kind of looks sinister. It looks so fucking evil.
Mea culpa. I trusted my friend.
Friendship and money. Oil and water.
Indeed. These friends use the good name of the church.
If you don't know what a Jesuit is, it's pretty much the liberals of the Catholic establishment. They literally believe in bending every part of the Bible to get their way. They even believe fraternity over truth. And truth means God. Always remember that. If anyone talks to you about that stuff. They believe... Freemasonry believes in fraternity and brotherhood over God. I mean over truth. Which is the same thing, actually. It's identical.
To feed their greed. If money was lost, then I am to blame. Oh, if only prayer could pay off our $700 million deficit.
769.
Yeah.
The church owns 25% of a large corporation. Immobiliare. You know the one I mean.
Largest landlord on earth, real estate all over the world worth $6 billion.
That's true.
And the Vatican vote is necessary for control.
No. You're mistaken. This isn't a question of one person deciding. One deciding vote. This is like any other company in the world. We have directors, we have rules, we have very old rules. Pope himself would have to approve you.
What the fuck is that running through the tie? I'm going to kill myself in Minecraft. That is driving me crazy. A tie bar?
We've sold the casinos. All businesses having to do with gambling. We have no interests or investment in anything illegitimate.
Look at that. They invented the globe model. They're so proud of it too, right? And if you ever wonder, well, John, like, how obvious is it that they put themselves in the middle of the world?
Corleones are prepared to deposit $500 million in the Vatican
You know,
Bank.
every map you've ever looked at is wrong, including a lot of flat Earth, all flat Earth maps. Every single map has different sized continents, depending on who the fuck made the map, a German or a British guy. Or
Such times, Mr. Corleone receives majority control of Immobiliare.
Immobiliare could be something new. A European conglomerate.
The map on the left is flat. No, you fucking retard. A flat Earth map, the angling is a ring. Look. You know how I know people are retarded? Most people that I've shown a flat Earth map to, they all say to me, well, John, that's round. So, like, The average human will click on this and say that's a globe. They don't get it. I remember asking Trainwrecks, I'm like, where's Antarctica on the flat map? Which is just common sense. 180 degrees opposite of North Pole would be south on a compass, right? Train said this is Antarctica. That's fucking Australia. That's his oceanic Antarctica. And that scared me because I'm like, yeah, it's almost as scary as when Destiny said Antarctica. I said, where's the South Pole on a compass? And Destiny in the map says, at the bottom, John. I was like, are you fucking stupid? And a lot of people think this is the North Pole on a flat Earth map. They're very stupid people. Like, most people on Earth are very stupid. You could show this map to... I'm even going to do this in Miami, where I show people the map and I go, point North Pole. Where is it? Where is the North Pole? And people get so confused. I can't figure it out, John. I was like, dude, this made sense in 1 second to me. How does it not make sense to you guys?
Corleone's
This is not a flat Earth map, you fucking idiot.
prepared to deposit $500 million in the Vatican Bank at such times Mr. Corleone receives majority control of Immobiliare.
Immobiliare could be something new. A European conglomerate. Few families have control of such a company.
It seems in today's world,
Yeah, that cigarette's done, champ. Just ash it. You're just smoking hopes and dreams and cancer now.
$600 million.
Don't overestimate the power of forgiveness.
Don Corleone, this deal with Immobiliare can make you one of the richest men in the world. Your whole past history and the history of your family will be washed away. $600 million.
I forgot about that. All of a sudden, Godfather isn't that overrated. I'm keeping this one, though. I've been here. Okay, let's see what's happening in society before I call it a night. Last night I went to sleep a second after my stream crashed. I've never been so tired. And then this is happening again to me. Like, what the fuck?
My name is Kobe Thurman, and I'm about to get my...
Why him?
Bro, why'd they make this like Hans Zimmer sh-?
Hey Hassan, we know you're going to react to this video, so we want to invite you to be in an episode of
Yikes, bro. Yikes.
Middle Ground. Maybe a one-on-one discussion with someone like Ben Shapiro. So it'll be great if you can announce your participation here first, and we can get Ben's attention. For now, enjoy the video.
It sounds like what you're saying is you want to be able to introduce all ways of life.
Yes.
So would it be okay to include a book with a man having a relationship with a 12-year-old in that book? I know
See,
it's extreme.
no.
Hold on, but just
No,
hear me out.
Because now
Hear
you're
me out.
equipped.
Hear out the lefty, okay? You gotta understand how intellectual I'm gonna be when I talk about a relationship with a 12-year-old. You haven't heard me out yet, Chad.
No, this is why I'm bringing it up, is who establishes the boundary.
The law.
But
Teachers have their own political agendas. Step forward if you agree.
I think it's important to recognize that individuals will have political agendas. It's a natural thing, and people should understand their political views. I think where we need to differentiate it is whether a teacher should have a political agenda in a classroom.
But is your idea of a political agenda like these teachers telling students, this is who you should vote for if you...
Okay, pause. Okay, I already have a problem with both sides. Okay, and I'm not doing the enlightened centrist shit ever. Don't worry, that's not this channel. But there is nothing more dense than saying, I have a problem when teachers have a political agenda they're pushing. Even if there is no agenda, politics will bleed through. It bleeds through everything. That's it. Meaning, if it's not a Christian society, you're going to get weird shit into your child's mind through the teacher. It doesn't matter if they want to or not, if they want to put it in the kid's head or not, it's going to happen. As in, the system has to change. Okay? Most teachers who fill their students' heads with liberal nonsense are doing it by accident. That's just as bad. I mean, it has just as bad of an effect, right? So it's not like, is the teacher sinister? Is the teacher putting it in their head? No, it's like teachers should not exist unless it's a Christian society and the teacher was raised with the fucking Bible. Okay? That's it. When the fuck has a nihilist taught a child anything of value? That's never happened.
Should have a political agenda in a classroom.
But is your idea of a political agenda like these teachers telling students, this is who you should vote for, if you vote for these people, it's wrong.
Yes,
if you vote for
or
these people, it's
ridiculing the beliefs that they may have for political or religious reasons, and using their position of authority to mold the minds of everyone else.
When it comes to diversity or these new sort of terms, I am not for certain types of what so-called diversity when it comes to these new kind of topics. And
Could you expand upon that? Like, what do you think
like
shouldn't be
critical
included?
race theory or some of the gender ideologies. It's not diverse if you're the teacher, the person of authority in the classroom, and you are saying this is how something should be.
Yeah, so I come from an elementary perspective. I'm a first grade teacher, so the conversations we're having in class isn't about the socioeconomic nature of the world. But we do talk about just what it looks like for different people in different communities. So when I talk about a political agenda, the agenda that I have in the classroom is to create an environment where folks are able to, better understand from wherever someone's coming from.
So you talk to first graders, okay? You're pretty much like, you might as well have a sign over your head saying, I'm a retard for a living, okay? You talk to fucking kids.
The problem with that, and I understand the sentiment as a teacher, if a child is sitting there and they happen to be black and you're saying, well, black people such and such and such. I mean, you're really, that's not okay.
I do have to stop you there because that's not really said. It's not said black people do this.
Well,
it's not said Mexicans do this. Again, it's trying to understand from multiple perspectives. That's not saying that every group aligns on the same thought. That's not saying every group is a monolith. What it's saying is, even if you disagree with somebody or you come from a different tradition or a different cultural background, those people's opinions can still be valid.
Yeah, no, this is what actually happens. They go, hey, black child. Hi, I'm your teacher. I'm your first grade teacher. Hello, black child. Yeah, that white kid Tyler next to you, he enslaved your ancestors. Better watch out for Tyler. That's literally the message kids are getting. Okay? And Tyler's sitting there like, what the fuck did I do? No, Tyler, you're a fucking Nazi, okay?
I'm gonna be honest, as a teacher, especially after COVID and all of that, I don't have time for a political agenda. I'm here trying to catch up with curriculum, pick up my readers that are, 2, 3 grade levels behind. I do not have time for that. I teach social emotional skills and all of that, but I'm not here to kind of, you need to believe this, and that. No. If you're a good person, we're good. We're gravy. All good. You know what I mean?
But your definition, and sometimes this can happen and it becomes political, is what is your definition of a good person? Would you think that I'm a good person because I'm raising my kids to be with Judeo-Christian values? And
there it is. There it is. There it is. See, I like going after our side more, right? Because our side is like half awake. It's always right there. It's just always
a heterosexual, heteronormative home where we talk about how divorce is wrong, cheating is wrong. We have friends of the LGBT community, but we teach our children that
cheating should be illegal, right? Adultery should be illegal. Like, if you cheat on your husband, you should serve 20 years in prison. You should be given peanut butter sandwiches with no peanut butter for 20 years straight until you learn your fucking lesson. Eat that fucking Wonder Bread.
Biblical perspective, that's not okay. Your definition of whether or not they are good could be very different than my definition of whether or not they are good.
To kind of clarify, in my classroom, if they're kind and they're not bashing anybody, judging anybody, kind of throwing out names, anything like that, they're good. It's not to say that topics like that don't come up in class. And I do open it up to discussion. I just keep it clear that this is a safe space. We don't judge each other. We're not going to bash each other. Understand you have your own experiences.
That's fucking stupid. Look, if they're going to take away student debt after a bunch of students, right, didn't have that privilege, that's fine. Okay, whatever. But I didn't grow up with safe spaces, so why did those little fucking runts get a safe space, huh? Where the fuck was my safe space? You're telling me I had to go through fucking hell? And now these little fucking first graders get to just to have their like soft little, nah, fuck that shit. I got bullied. Those kids have to get bullied. That's how this shit works. All right. Now looking back on when back in my day, I was suffering and you no, fuck that shit. Okay. I suffered. I didn't have a safe space. I got bullied. Those runts are going to get bullied too. That's how this works.
But we're not going to come in with an agenda, you can say. And I feel like this idea of parents and their teachers of their political biases and all of this is just all of this fear that is clouding their judgment, clouding.
Except we have numerous, not just.
We have experiences.
My own child, first week of school, what pronouns you wanted to go by? I mean, not what's your favorite subject, how can I help you succeed academically?
Who's to say that wasn't a part of the questions too, And understand that question could stand out.
So maybe you don't understand that you're teaching politics.
But that's not politics. That's just like basic respect.
I think that's beautiful.
But it's not true.
That's beautiful.
Not to me.
So I think you need your idea that that's basic
Jedi.
respect. What is the framework of that? Because I think that many teachers are going through these trainings, and the trainings are saying this is the framework of how we operate in the classroom. But where did that idea come from?
Because it's based off. It's called a thing called data.
Did you do that?
No, hold on. A lot of schools have research and development, and so the state also does. So in the state of California, we do research. So at the end of the day, my job is not just to make your kid to feel comfortable.
Why do we pretend like California is a state? California is a shithole. Okay.
I got 55 students. I got to make 55 students feel comfortable. And so when your kid comes home and tells you, well, Mom, the teacher said, what's my pronouns? Yeah, I did say, what's your pronoun? I also said, what's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite food? I am a college professor now. I was previously a 3rd, 4th grade teacher. Teaching 3rd and 4th grade was horrible. Dealing with parents who thought their child was special and should be treated a certain way. It just wasn't doable. The constant complaining, the accusing people of doing things that are not going on in our classes, not being enough for their child. It was just too much.
Sounds a little creepy, bro. What did you do?
When parents don't have the knowledge of what goes on inside of a school, I think it's important for those parents to go to the school. And we as educators like our parents to be involved. Again, I have too many students to push an agenda. I do my job, what they pay me to do.
Discussion about sexuality doesn't belong in schools.
Look at the pedos on the left.
I had a sex ed class.
Please let me. I need to talk to your child about finger popping assholes. I need to talk to your child about eating ass. I need to talk to your children about eating ass. Okay? That's just constitutional, Chad.
I was in 3rd grade, and it was quite simple. Boys go in this room, girls go in this room, they play a little video on a black and white TV. You know, you see the genitalia, and you're like, oh God, I got one of those, cool, now we're figuring out what I am. The fear is these schools have no boundaries. Like, if they do the classroom thing where they want to split kids up, how many genders are we gonna do this? We're gonna put boys, them, and then girls, and then how many rooms do we need to create for equality? Or are we really chasing equity? And I think parents now are beginning to realize we've got to stop this and create framework about sexuality, especially in a hyper-sexualized culture. My kids don't need to know at 6, 7, and 8 years old about different types of sexual acts. That's not...
I always hear the argument of, but Zherka, in Europe, Europeans are taught about sex in grade 1. Yeah, nobody wants to be like those fucking cucks, okay? Why the fuck do people appeal to Europe for this argument? But in Europe, they do it differently, John. Yeah, because we really want to be like the Nordics right now, right? We want to be like Merkel, actually. We want to be like the Germans. We don't. We don't want to be anything like you guys. Stop appealing to fucking shithole Europe.
Not appropriate.
People think that this is just kind of happening, it's a one-off. It is in so many schools. Where I live in Florida, there was a poster going around.
No, if I had a child and my child learned about sex at 8 years old, I would go live and go up to the teacher and be like, yeah, you're a pedophile. My kid is done going to this school. You're done. It's over. Okay? What are you going to do? Fight me? You're going to do... Bring the principal. Bring everyone. Bring that badass. Dude, if I get angry and I don't have a child, how angry are these parents? I always wonder. I'm like, these parents are so strange that they don't do anything.
Kids could text anonymous strangers to get information about sex. And on this poster in school, want to get laid?
Wow.
I mean, it's beyond, and there is a push for pleasure-based sex. Pleasure for who?
My oldest is 9 years old. She's in 3rd grade, and she's been exposed to things, and we do have conversations about it. But that's a conversation that I should be having with my 9-year-old daughter. If a
sex out of marriage should literally be illegal, right? It should be so fucking illegal. You should be taxed triple. If you have it, you should be taxed triple.
Grader or a 4th grader is going to be prompted by a teacher, hey, what are your pronouns? As a parent, I should have a heads up about that because they're not even going to understand the question. And so I think that the idea that those conversations are started in the classroom instead of in the home is a big problem. Yeah, I have a family.
You know how powerful media is? If children grew up with a TV show of a superhero who has a wife and kids, instead of Maury and Jerry Springer, if they just put regular family TV, in the psyche of these children, as they go through puberty, all they will crave is marriage. They're not going to crave hookup culture as much. Yeah, there's going to be bad kids here and there, but it's like, come on, dude. It's...
member who first day of 6th grade was asked for her pronouns, and she stood up and said that as a person of faith she believed that God didn't make a mistake making her a girl, and so therefore she identified as a she, her, and she was sent to the principal's office and punished for that decision. Thankfully we haven't seen that broadly yet, but I think it's really damaging to take a shy, innocent 11-year-old child and make them stand in front of a classroom and determine something that they maybe haven't even put that much thought into.
I like what you said, Sean, about how you were emphasizing, how a lot.
By the way, this is what democracy is, right? While children are going through this pedophilia epidemic, this pedophilia pandemic, everyone has to wait 4 years to vote to see if pedophilia is wrong. They just wait, just hang on, guys. We're figuring things out because we're a democracy, right?
A lot of parents today felt a goodness of the way that sexual education was conducted in the past. So there is an agreement that sexuality should be talked about in schools. The disagreement is whether it should just be purely heteronormative or if we should include all aspects of sexuality. I don't think that we're doing demonstrations to encourage children how to have sex, but this is something that we are trying to, again, educate and make them aware that this kind of things happen. And while you grow up, you're gonna have to experience somebody who's of this orientation.
Kids are naturally curious, and I think that what I'm hearing from you is I understand where you're maybe potentially coming from, but then where's the line between that sex education and introducing them to porn? Because porn can be educational. I was a virgin when I got married, and for years I was made fun of and heard, well, how are you gonna know if you don't try it? We hear that a lot too. If you haven't tried to kiss a girl to see if you like it or not, then how do you really know that you're not a lesbian? How do you really know that you're not gay if you've never slept with a guy? How do you really know that you want to be in a monogamous relationship if you don't sleep around? And when you start to introduce those questions to children, specifically prepubescent ones, they're going to naturally be curious, and their emotional and hormonal maturity is not there to be making those types of decisions that have lifelong impact.
Well, you're right, and a lot of them are learning at home, because just like you guys are saying, they come home to tell you things. Well, guess what? Those same kids come to school and talk about what you're telling them at home. You'll be surprised what I hear from students when I do a "what do you think?" Well, let me tell you what my mama and daddy did. And look, I don't try.
What? That's a threat. This is a threat, right? He's saying all of us teachers got dirt on you guys. Okay, so don't push it. Look at this fucking loser.
Well, you're right, and a lot of them are learning at home.
This is what a pedo sounds like.
Because just like you guys are saying, they come home to tell you things. Well, guess what? Those same kids come to school and talk about what you're telling them at home. You'll be surprised what I hear from students when I do a "what do you think?" Well, let me tell you what my mama and daddy did. And look, I don't have time. Your kid is not that important to me, not to be rude. I got like 300 students. Your kid is no more important than the other 299. So I don't have time to sit up here and let me get you to think like me. I can't get my own 23-year-old to think like me. At the end of the day, what needs to happen, and this is just my own personal take, parents need to start being parents, because a lot of times the teachers are the parents. They're parenting your kids because absentee parenting.
I think that this conversation is really interesting, and I think we need to step back and look at why we automatically assume that if we're telling our children about lesbians, gay people, queer people, why do we immediately equivocate that to telling them about what sex is?
Jezebel.
That can just be something as simple as, here is a book. In this book, there are 2 dads. This book character has 2 dads. And kids, they can be inquisitive, and that's good, right? But also, like, they're gonna be like, cool, there's 2 dads.
All these kids know that there's a dad and a dad and a mom and a mom, and the culture is teaching all of that. So what we've noticed is that the curriculum in 8th grade and up is a lot deeper than that. It's more like, here is how you can have sex so you do not get pregnant.
Yeah.
Illustration.
Yeah, no, there's a dad and a mom, and that's it.
Of anal sex. That is the stuff that we're now reacting against. And that, sadly, is the trust that's being broken between teachers and parents.
Yeah, and I think we're moving into a conversation about comprehensive sex ed. What I am talking about is when I go into this classroom and I'm teaching kids, I'm not going to just teach kids.
Oh, Eli, I appreciate you so much, but damn, I was just gonna turn it off. Okay, welcome guys. 1 in the chat if you are with Donald Trump. Let's check out the boys.
Material that is heteronormative.
Out of curiosity, it sounds like what you're saying is you want to be able to introduce all ways of life. Like these are the people that you will encounter with throughout life.
That is what I'm arguing. Yes.
So would it be okay to include a book with a man having a relationship with a 12-year-old in that book? I know it's extreme.
No.
Okay, now W's in the chat if divorce should be illegal.
Hold on, but just hear me out.
Because now you're equivocating gay people to pedophiles.
No, I'm not.
And no, that's not okay.
That is not.
No, you're drawing a line that I'm not drawing. And
Now, 0 in the chat if all teachers are pedophiles.
Definitely crossing the line.
I agree. I
Crossed.
I agree. And this is why I'm bringing it up: is who establishes the boundary?
The law.
But what law? The law is.
Now, who is the pedo on screen right now? Right? What color is he wearing?
But the law that's been signed in in some blue
No,
states,
I'm sorry. No, there's laws against between adults having sex with children. Now, if a student had 2 parents who happen to be of the same sex, I'm not going to sit there and discount who they are in my class. I cannot do that. I signed a contract.
I would never ask anybody to uplift or suppress any child. I want there to be equality in the classroom. What I am saying is that there are factual instances where this is being taught in classrooms. I pulled my children out of public school because there are so many instances of this happening. I am a parent. I'm looking in the book bag every day. I'm checking in with homework. I am talking to the teachers and the principals, and I'm involved. But we didn't know that, you know, during class, there were images shown of literal sex acts or describing.
What the fuck? Really? Yo, dude, what the fuck is American culture degenerated to?
Certain situations that were inappropriate for young children.
We have a belief system at home, and the children want to break the boundaries of that belief system naturally because we're human beings. That's just what we do. And we're trying to confine them to a set of beliefs to say, this is what is right in our home. And we're seeing the schools get funding from Planned Parenthood. They tried to pass a bill to put...
Jake Sully is right. This is fucking ridiculous.
Medical facilities to offer abortions in high schools here in California. And it's gradual, right? It starts with, this is a book that has two dads. This is a book with two moms. And it's just a gradual curiosity that could leverage and break away that child from the root in the home. My education growing up was fully public education. College is where I started getting a curiosity for truth and education, and I think I'm so passionate about the education system.
This guy fucked the barber's wife or something. Something went horribly wrong here
today, because it is obviously broken, but how do we fix it? Many of these progressive ideas in fixing it is just more empathy, sympathy, safety, but in reality, I see the public school system isn't actually accomplishing the goal of what education is, which is teaching critical thinking, how to understand, how to ask good questions, and then comprehend how to problem solve.
Affirmative action is racial discrimination.
Let's go.
There was a high school down the street from where I live in Los Angeles that encouraged all the kids of color to apply for their school play. And only once all the kids of color received whatever positions they wanted, then the white kids could apply. That, in my opinion, is an example of discrimination. The fact that we now have Harvard has black-only kids' dorms, that to me is segregation.
With affirmative action, we've seen with Harvard law.
I mean, why not just make white-only dorms? Even it out. You see how these conservatives are not conservative like us, Chad? No, sir. These are lukewarm. These are, they don't have Chancellor Palpatine in their corner like us, okay? They're just MAGA. They don't go dark MAGA.
And other things, how it's backfiring and it's picking and choosing of which minorities can and cannot have success. It was done to try to create or make up for the wrongs of our past, but I think it's really backfired.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, excluding those excelling students in other races to fix the problems of the past, like you said. But I think the past, there were a lot of minorities that were excelling and doing really well.
Despite the foot of the
Exactly.
government. And like,
Yes.
kudos to them.
Yes.
Incredible, strong human beings. And we shouldn't have that discrimination in any way anymore, but unfortunately, it has become a discrimination against other groups.
Yeah, it's racism. It is racism. If you are taking a group of people and judging them on their race and setting them aside, giving them a special treatment, if you are uplifting a person or you are trying to suppress a person because of their race, that is racism. So we're supposed to believe that someone like...
You know what's my favorite lefty take? Like, they'll talk about white people being the problem, right? For like 1,000 years straight. They just talk about white people being the problem. And then they turn to you and say, yeah, whiteness doesn't even exist. It's like, the fuck have you been complaining about then, you fucking retard? Like, lefties kill me. They'd be like, the white man did this, the white man did that. Oh, I loathe these white people. They're just white power everywhere. And then you turn to them and you're like, well, what if we white people? And they go, no, stop. There's no such thing as white people. Right?
Barack Obama's children are like struggling because they're black. Like, that's ridiculous. So I pulled my oldest daughter out a public school in Florida. We were having debates about pulling down statues and changing names, and some of the school board members and some of the activist groups were saying that Black children could not learn because of names on buildings, and that is completely asinine to me. It basically says that because we have a higher level of melanin, somehow our brains don't work. And every other kid could walk into the building and get the education that they needed, but somehow not for you Black children. And I found that to be just disgusting. And I did not want my children to have any type of idea coming from authority figures.
All these liberals are so fucking fat and hideous in this video. Here's a challenge, okay? Find a video where they're not. Let's play a game.
Who believed in such things like that.
First of all, I would like to say that affirmative action programs are the biggest beneficiary according to the data, and this has been government data has been white women first and foremost.
Yeah.
Second of all, I would never use Barack Obama's kids as a barometer for anything because they do have privilege as well as Will Smith kids. But if we talk about Laquan Smith down the street that nobody knows.
Yeah, that sounds racist, bro. Why did you say Laquan?
There will be some impediments
You're being racist
based on his
towards me
race.
right now?
Yeah.
Why? How do you know that?
Because people do tend to look and see race. What you were talking about is just racism, but when it's institutional and structural.
Oh, there it is. They changed it from systemic, right? Because everyone got bored of that word, right? They're like, okay, it sounds a little gay. Now it's structure. Listen to this. It's not systemic anymore. It's not 2016 anymore.
And see race. What you were talking about is just racism, but when it's institutional and structural, it does something totally different. And when the Black wealth gap is 100 years behind the white wealth gap in America, it'll take 100 years to catch up.
Why do you think that's because of racism, though? You take one thing and say that is the cause for every person of color.
The data
What data? What data is saying that Black people are behind?
I love her.
Because there are many Black people that aren't behind, that are doing much better than other people.
No, you're absolutely right. And there are outliers in every single community. There are very strong, members of the Black community that are very affluent. There are also a majority that live in poverty. And if we see a bunch of cities that are majority person of color, and we're trying to recognize why have these places stayed at a very stable poverty line. But there are systemic reasons to why these communities are like that. How would you say that?
I would say probably because of policies that are in those.
Flux, I see you talking shit about me, Flux, and all I have to say is one thing. Flux in chat, your mother is a whore. That's the one thing I'm going to say tonight, and I'm not talking anymore about you.
Racist policies, absolutely.
Hold on, we got to define terms. When would you say that Watts and Compton became the way that it is? Was it like that in the 40s and 50s?
No, it's a growth
No,
because
I'm
of the
asking
policies,
you.
from redlining policies that were enabled.
In California?
Yeah, absolutely. California put in racist policies. I would never deny that.
All of these supposed solutions are actually hurting. Wouldn't a better solution be to teach our kids that we're all born in the image of God? We should all treat one another equally. And if you
Look how uncomfortable the liberal gets. She goes, oh, not the Bible. I don't fuck with that. I like primordial soup and coming from Monkey Man. Yeah, I like that better, actually. I like the whole a random cell appeared somehow, because maybe lightning. And then it split into two cells, and then eventually it turned to a whale. And the whale somehow changed everything about it and walked on land. Like, shut the fuck up, bitch.
that we're all born in the image of God. We should all treat one another equally. And if you're if you don't believe in God, then we're all equal, right? If you come from a poor neighborhood, whether you're
Someone said the whale evolved to become a liberal. What is your fucking problem, dude? I'm trying to go after evolution, and you're doing this cruelty shit, and I don't fuck with that.
Black or Hispanic.
That's too cruel, man. Like, come on.
Or an immigrant from anywhere, obviously.
That's so fucked up.
You don't have the same privileges that somebody who comes from a wealthy community, but that has nothing to do with your color. I don't think that if you're an impoverished black kid or you're an impoverished white kid, one should receive a resource and the other shouldn't.
Would you say that it's economic then is the reason that causes these disparities?
Economically, but I don't think it's related to color.
But would you say if there's a majority of a particular group that lies underneath the poverty line in economic, race has anything to do with that?
It could, but it's just not blanket. You don't know. And why don't we look at the families, the black families, who have done those amazing things in this country and study what they did to succeed instead of just focusing on, oh, well, black people are behind and we don't even know what to do. Well, why don't we just go and look? Since you are a professor, wouldn't that be, you go and look at what has worked?
Well, I would never just go to you and just look at you. Again, and I'm sorry, it's just the reality of the data. And so what I share...
Data can be broken up in umpteen different ways.
No, it can't.
Yes, it
No,
can.
actually, I just give
You're a
the data.
professor and you're saying
That's
that
why I
data
give
cannot
data.
be manipulated?
I don't
This is why my
manipulate
kids do not go to
data.
public school anymore.
I don't, and I'm glad they don't.
I just think it's interesting. I'm thinking of like an
It's so funny. I'm glad they don't. He's like, he's spiteful.
anecdotal story I have. Last year, the school that I taught at, Deep East Oakland, I served majority black and brown students. Over 70% of our families under the poverty line. These are some of the hardest working people I have ever seen in my life. They get
Oh, yeah. Okay, bro. Wow. Yeah. And Albanians? What about Can you talk about my people while you're at it? Are we hardworking too? I would like some brownie points right now.
They have 2 or 3 jobs, 3 or 4 children.
I would argue
because of their economic status, right?
Because of liberal policies that is the government telling them that they can and cannot succeed, because of how high our property taxes are here, because we do not have school choice where they can take their dollars somewhere else. If you put those same families in redder districts in the country, like places in Florida and Texas or Virginia, where they have better options for their family, you would definitely see them be able to succeed.
And where black and brown children are still underperforming in schools.
But coming from Florida,
You don't want the answer to that. you don't know where that's gonna lead you, lady. You don't know the end of the political journey. You need to stop asking questions and shut the fuck up. You can never talk about why they're underperforming, bitch. Fucking Richard Spencer is resurrected. Oh, bro, I'm getting 2016 energy from this video. Yeah, but who knows why?
the school that I was at, it's graded from like A to like D, F. When I started there, it was a C school. Very poor performing. And technically, sure, they have school choice. They don't have state tests anymore. But they're still so badly performing. The community of it, black, brown, very little white students in that community. But not to say that student of color can't be more affluent, but I think it's ridiculous to kind of say that color doesn't play a part into disparities and just...
IQ? Play the music, chat. Oh, I don't have the Joker music anymore. Fuck.
Disadvantages. So in Florida, a lot of people that I had encountered weren't kind to others, and sometimes I would have coworkers call students retarded and using racist slurs and things like that. And
they call people retarded? I hate when people use that word. Like, if you're supposed to say you're a fucking retard. If you say you're retarded, that's soft. That's weak, right? But you're a fucking retard, bro. That's the one that stings. That's the one that gets under their skin, all right? Students, one in the chat if you're listening, students, okay? I'm kidding. Guys, be nice. Be hearts in the chat. Be inclusive with, come on, hearts in the chat for everyone on earth.
From my standpoint, hearing something like that, it disgusted me. My coworkers very quickly were able to kind of distinguish me from the rest. Like, if I was gonna come to the teacher's lounge, more hushed conversation, people wouldn't share as much as they used to.
I know I'd be a bad parent. Remember when I posted the video on Twitter and I showed it on stream? I was teaching my nephew, right? He's in kindergarten, right? Last year I was teaching him, I was punching this plastic fan It was like buzzing. It was a hot summer day. And I kept punching it, and he would laugh, and he'd copy me. And then my older brother's like, oh, finally something you guys are bonding over, right? And now I'm in huge trouble because he got expelled from kindergarten for punching the teacher in the face and other students, right? And I've been talking about his problem for a while. But yeah, I don't think I'm allowed to babysit ever again, you know? Because they're impressionable, these little suckers, you know? Yeah. I'm like, what kind of fucking loser gets banned from kindergarten? It wasn't funny at all, but I thought that's impossible because they're like paying the teacher, bro. He could only go like once a week now. Fuck.
Too, just because I would call out behavior like that.
Teachers with guns make schools safer.
Dude, I'm such a bad influence. I was like, hey, did you get expelled from kindergarten? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, why? He's like, I don't like that. No, I said, do you not like your teacher? He's like, I don't like her. And I smiled, and he looked at me, and he smiled, and I was like, fuck, dude, I'm so bad at this. Yeah, but kindergarten's a drag, right? Well, now it's a drag show, but...
You know what? I'm going to disagree.
So I was really in between. I didn't really know how I felt about this issue at first. But then I started looking at places that had armed their teachers. So I believe that model is good. It has to be voluntary.
Yes.
So the teachers have to want to do it themselves. They have to be well trained.
Yes.
They have to have background checks periodically. That has been successful.
If we're trusting teachers, which in some cases we do, in some cases we don't.
You know what's the funniest argument ever? Is when at drag shows, the left gets angry and says, hey, you hate transgender people because you're not letting them twerk on children for money. And I'm like, yo, you know you could be a straight white male, and if you're doing that, that's fucking illegal. I don't think I have a problem with anything else besides the whole grab. There's these Twitter videos where they're grabbing money, right? The kids are holding money. It's some satanic shit. When you watch it, it's actually not funny,
But if my mindset is that if we're going to trust teachers to mold our children's minds and educate them, they're there for 8 hours a day. We should also trust and kind of enable them to protect them.
Why do Republicans always look better than liberals who tend to look homeless? It's actually not true because all of Hollywood is lib. So, yeah. You know why I say that though? I love to take a dig at them and say they're ugly, but I feel like you're doing a disservice to young men because you have to teach young men that liberals can be pretty. The devil's pretty, right? The devil's very good looking. You have to know that 80% of the women in your life you meet are fucking bitches, liberals, and they're pretty. They're going to get you. You have to be guarded with that information. You can't say all liberals are ugly because that's how they get your ass. You need to assume that they're the most beautiful sirens, right? Because that's how you're going to get canceled, is you're going to let them in your house because you're going to be like, oh, look at this. You can't be a liberal. You're just too pretty. Don't ever think like that. They got all my friends like that.
Themselves and our kids physically.
I think by no means should we ever force a teacher to carry a gun, but if a teacher is willing to take on the responsibility of learning how to handle a weapon properly, I think that we should allow them to do that for us, and it frankly would be an incredible service to us.
Yeah, sirens come in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
All right, so just to break it open, this conversation is so much more nuanced than to arm or not to arm. And if you want to save a school, you need to get parental engagement.
Here's my question. How come in third world countries where they kill each other on the street, gangbanging, and they're very violent, how come they don't have school shooters? Like, not even one. And then I can't talk about anything further now. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to, get in trouble, but you know what I'm saying.
Let's look at the mindset of the individuals that are going into these homes with firearms. Those individuals are not mentally okay. There's something wrong happening, whether it's at school, in the house, whether it's, who knows, maybe it's something they're consuming online. And I think that's the parent's job to continue to engage to make sure that child is healthy. A lot of these kids as well that are going into schools that are not mentally healthy, they're coming from single parent households, they're living with their grandparents. There's something intrinsically with their identity that's broken. And I think that whether you arm a school or you don't, it's not gonna change it if you don't.
So like, I don't get why people allow their kids to even go to school. They're not getting smart there. Everyone knows that. There's potential they get shot, and they're learning about sexual imagery. It's like you're just feeding your kid to Moloch at this point.
Don't address the real issue.
I agree with you that people that are, perpetrating these crimes and these
Moloch is sitting right here.
Are messed up individuals. I would absolutely agree.
Where's Moloch?
Mass shootings are a uniquely American problem. So if we try to understand what's the root, why is America solely have that problem? I would say it's a gun culture problem. So if the idea is, should we try to remove aspects of gun culture that really pervade in our society? Should we do that, or should we just increase the amount of firearms we can have in every single space, just so that way we're properly ready for a gunfight whenever
I want
it
to
comes
clarify
up.
gun culture. Are you saying that there's like the shoot 'em up, bang 'em up video games? Or are you saying
No, I wouldn't say it's video games. I'd say institutions like the NRA that heavily impose, you need to own not just firearms, but as many firearms as you can.
I have 8 guns.
I personally would not like to be armed. I do not want to take lethal action.
No pun intended.
In the classroom, and I want to make it a safe and inclusive environment. Arming teachers is a response measure to particular violence that goes on in our schools here in America. And personally, I think we should focus more towards solutions to prevent these occurrences from happening, rather than just implementing responses implying that these actions will occur.
And I'm just going to be honest with you, you don't want me to have a gun, because I had to go back to therapy in the last few months. And so I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying, what your plan was. But I would also say mental health. We got to understand some of these school shootings are done because people have snapped.
People have natural biases and things like that, and people could act on those biases. Then they could be guns drawn and not a clear mind, As a parent, how would you feel knowing that you don't know which teachers have a gun and you've had bad experiences with prior teachers? What if that teacher that absolutely,
So
blown
my answer to your question is, I feel the same way about the guard in front of my kid's school. I don't really know the guard, but he's gone through training, and I presume that he knows what he's doing. And frankly, I feel the same way about a police officer. I don't need the police officer, but they've gone through training and they were willing to take on that responsibility. And so I would apply the same logic. It's so interesting that you bring that up, because it really ties back to why I feel like we need to be careful about how much responsibility we're saddling teachers with teaching our kids values, right? On the one hand, the system is saying, trust our teachers, they know better than you parents. We should be able to teach them what they need to know about.
Focus on the symbol on his shirt. It's the peace symbol, right? Don't let these liberal cucks fool you. That's the cross inverted upside down and snapped in half. This is New Ageism coming from Masons, Freemasons. It has nothing to do with love. They're lying. It's a deception.
Sexuality. On the other hand, you guys are admitting that many teachers are not really checked for mental issues. We don't really know what
His name is Mason. Dude, anyone's name who is Mason is probably a pedophile.
Happening in these classrooms.
I'm not
we
saying
don't
that
know about
teachers
what
are not
friction.
checked. We very frequently have professional development days where we got self-care. So I wouldn't say many by any means. And when I'm coming into the workplace,
to be a liberal, you're either a pedophile. You guys get to play the main characters in the anime, and I'm just the rich supervillain. I'm supposed to be on my yacht here. I don't even have a fucking yacht, bitch. I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to play the rich, well-off supervillain. Yeah, no. I want to come from a poor place. I want to be the main character of the anime. Okay, right? I'm tired of being the villain.
Literally going at each other, talking about who was more oppressed. It's not a matter of if something.
And then the teacher says, "Okay, well, which race, Zherka, do you want to label as the new villain?" And I go, "Oh, wow. This is the part that I shouldn't say on Twitch." I go, let me think about this. And I just scratched my chin here. And I was like, Eeny, meeny, miny. Hey, two-state solution guy, come here. Totally having fun here.
Was racist, it's a matter of when something was racist or how the racist thing happened. So they automatically assume, critical race theorists, that racism is embedded into every single thing. How do you look a child, specifically a black child, in the eye and tell them, I'm sorry for you because of your skin color? There's no hope for you in the greatest country literally for them, because black Americans are the most successful black people in the entire world. And then turn around and look at a white child and say, sorry, you're responsible for the atrocities of 200 years ago.
All I have to add to that is that in our home and with our faith, I teach my children that it is awful to make someone feel hopeless or pitied. You're damning them to a future of failure if you are telling them, oh, I pity you and I'm going to do these things for you, instead of coming alongside them and supporting them and doing something for themselves that pulls them out of that hopelessness. And I think that those are two of the worst things that we can do as a broader society.
You know what I love about America? My mother immigrated from Morocco. She's a Jewish person. Everywhere around the world, we're known as the Jew. In America, we're known as American. And I think there's something so powerful about empowering any community to be American and to succeed based on your own merit. We don't look back into why we can't. We look into why we can. And so when my family taught me since I was a little girl, I can, I learned that I could. And that's why I think this country has empowered me so much. I want to see the same thing for kids of all colors in the United States. But if we're teaching them that there is no hope for them and that people will always look at them in a different way, then how are they going to hear the message of I can? My question for liberal teachers is, do they think that it's the right place for them to impose liberal ideas in classrooms, knowing that they have many students who come from conservative families? And I find that many of the schools have become battlegrounds for those kinds of ideas. And when teachers are bringing those issues to the classrooms, it's forcing families and conservative kids to have to address these issues. And we believe that they're simply too young to deal with those kinds of complex matters at that age.
Yeah, she's hard.
Okay, so first of all, I think we need to define what critical race theory is. Critical race theory is a theory that Derek Bell and Kimberly Crenshaw and a bunch of former Harvard law students came up with, where they theorize that within certain American laws, racism is just embedded. And so I'm sorry for your experience, because you shouldn't have to go through that. Nobody should have to go through that. I don't tell my son you can't do anything. I have told my son you have to work twice as hard. I have to tell my son, you're a black man in America, there's certain things you need to do to survive.
I mean, first, I think the idea that we are teaching children critical race theory in schools is ridiculous. As he pointed out, this is a high level, like university level framework. You are not going to walk into like Isabel's elementary school fifth grade classroom and see Isabel telling these people about the legal structures. In my opinion, how I define myself as an American, right? I define myself as someone who is proud of my country.
Right, but again, they don't want college students talking about this. They want to incept the minds of the youth, as the minds are plastic. They want to incept ideas. They don't care about the discussion.
Someone who can look at the mistakes that my country has made in the past and the things that are keeping other people oppressed and recognize that these are still existing and that we need to work towards changing that. So I don't see how critical race theory could be anti-American.
John, what college did you graduate from? From the one that you don't go in debt, but you become rich as fuck as babes DM you trying to suck your dick. I'm from Twitch High. That's where I graduated from. What about you? Right? What level of debt are you in? Fucking loser. Fucking college student. Fucking loser.
Because that's how I define American. And I think it's very nuanced because people define American in many different ways,
I actually
right?
don't completely disagree with your definition of it. I think that maybe you think it's systemic and I think it's the individual. But I think that even in nuanced ways, like the example that she gave, I've heard examples where my nieces have been segregated in the classroom at 4th and 5th grade. And like, well, did this happen to you? Do you have a 2-parent home? Are your grandparents raising you? And like, there's this line of victimhood. And as a woman that has dealt with sexism, I do definitely teach my daughters, like as a girl in this country, it is going to be a different experience than your father had. But I don't think it's beneficial at all to kind of institute that victimhood in their long-term mentality, because then you actually start to see kids that are like, oh, well, they're different than me, so therefore their life could be better or worse than mine. And instead of engaging with those people, they step away.
I don't believe that there's a victimhood to it. I think it's just kind of amplifying that, hey, this is the truth, this is what happens, and let's move forward with that. Having that knowledge to be able to kind of navigate through life is better than just, oh, well, I assume I'm the same as, my white counterpart. Oh, why is she able to do this? Why does she have this opportunity that I don't have?
But they are the same.
But she has that opportunity.
They are the same, is what we're saying.
I think what the difference is, we're stating normative statements, and you guys are claiming that we're presenting prescriptive claims. So the normative statement that we're presenting is, these events happen in American history. These are the outcomes that have led from those events. What you guys are saying is, we're then adding prescriptive statements, which is, that's why you should never really try, because you'll never make it in this country.
That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that if you negatively press a child with these thoughts, that will be the outcome, because that's how human beings work. This is a psychological fact.
The quality of education is the government's job.
I believe it is the government's job. Look, our funding comes through government. I mean, our schools are government entities. So it is. Policies are government. Everything's government. I mean, if you're in public education, you're in government. We're bureaucrats. That's literally our job. So it is government's job. So yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is the job of the government, because Schools are government. That's literally what they are. They're government institutions.
Yes, I completely agree. Government provides a certain quality to education. Obviously, they haven't provided those funds, they haven't provided those policies that are pro-teacher or anything like that. So it really shows in our education, in kids, and all around. We're just not.
Yeah, if your kid doesn't go to a private school, you failed as a parent. Like, sorry to say this, chat, but you're a failure. If you have kids, if anyone has kids in this chat, I'm talking to you. And you know you're mad because it's the truth. It's the fucking truth, okay? You couldn't afford to send your kid to private school because you didn't try hard enough. That's the truth. Is that you're a loser. You're a loser parent. You send him to public school. You send her to public school. You failed. You failed, okay? Today I'm dressed as the high school bully.
At the quality that other countries are at.
I was going back and forth because what a government is, oftentimes is character.
Not everyone can be a streamer in their 20s like you. You have life on easy mode. That's not true. I worked construction, and then I worked sales, and then I worked as a bouncer getting my face punched in against urinals. Okay, I think I earned this spot, bitch. You have life on easy mode, not me, okay? You go battle knives and come back, you fucking little bitch.
As like this entity of like a group of people up there deciding what goes on. Where no, like government is just collective organization.
You know how hard it is to have a sense of humor and go viral for being funny when your life sucks and you literally have $8 to your name, okay? And you have to turn into a drug dealer to pay people back. You know how hard that life was? It's just all the babes made it a lot easier. Like, I kept forgetting I'm broke. I had all the chicks, right? I'd collect them like Pokemon. I was so evil. I was like a super villain. Now, the only thing I can think of is that fucking turkey stuffing I have waiting for me in the fridge. I can't wait to ditch you guys, man.
Does the government have a role in education? Absolutely. I think that parents have to play a role as well, and not only being involved with what their kid is learning in school, but also reinforcing strong educational skills. And that doesn't happen unless
these liberals want in the chat if they're going to hell.
There is parent involvement. I know the kids that are being worked on at home versus the kids that aren't, and it plays out in test scores, it plays out in their engagement in class, and it plays out in their behavior.
You have to remember that we're a representative government, that it's based on the people, right? And so these public school systems are waiting for the parents to come in and say, this curriculum is not what I want to teach my kids. We, the taxpayers, control the curriculum, but the problem is we haven't been
This is what hell is, a dark room, except in hell you cannot interrupt when the liberal starts going off in an emotional tangent.
Engaging in that system because we've been so distracted and pulled away from the education from our kids.
No, I would agree. Communities need to absolutely be more involved in their school boards and what's going on in education. And unfortunately, we don't have that. And oftentimes, a lot of politicians, albeit Republicans, that are trying to cut a lot of social programs and a lot of social.
You know why you know why it's always the left and the right fighting each other? Because the middle is the liberal, and they'll never tell you that. They control the world. Okay, their ideology has touched the four corners of the flat Earth. But you'll never know. You're too busy talking about Sanders like an idiot.
Investment, as well as corporate Democrats who want to cut a lot of social investment. Both of those, we see areas of corruption within our education system.
Well, and let's be clear on what we're talking about government is. So when we talk about on a local level, it is government. That's literally what government is. When your kid goes into the school, they're going into a government institution. So I think when we're not talking about parents not being involved. I want you involved. Heck, please be involved. So I think our issue, when we were talking about government, we weren't talking about excluding parents. We're talking about it is government.
He's like, actually, my ideology is maximizing individual liberty. As long as it doesn't infringe on anyone else's rights, we can twerk in front of your children. And everyone's like, well, as a Christian, let me think about this through a democratic process. Let me keep traumatizing my kid for 4 years. Let me think about it. Like, is that really a conservative? You sit there and you think while your kids are being traumatized? Give me a break. There are no real conservatives. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, it's only the Saudis. It's the last true conservatives.
Job to make this entity, which is public education, function. It has to. If government's not involved, you have no money.
So you guys teach in government schools, public schools. Essentially, you're teaching a diverse student body. You have conservatives, you have liberals. How can you better represent us, half of this country? It's sadly causing us to lose faith in you guys. We want to support you guys. We want to send our kids to your schools.
No, it's your fault. Conservatives need to know it's your fault, okay? It's your fault. That's it. The moment you guys turned into these Mike Pence, soft-spoken neocons is the moment you guys gave up. That's the truth. Okay? Because when conservatives say, hey, liberal, shut your fucking mouth, you're a fucking retard, the liberal gets embarrassed and goes, yeah, I'm being a little retarded, sorry. But nobody says that to them anymore. You just let them twerk in front of your kids now.
Classroom. And I think that when we talk about all these differences, you know, how do we sort of represent both of these sides, right? How do we bring these people together? I think it's also really important to remember that historically this curriculum is one-sided in favor of conservative views, in favor of supporting white students, not students of color, right? And so I think that
And that's why I love Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, he went full boomer, right? He's no Republican. He's his own thing. He just, what the fuck is going on? That's really what the party of Trump is. What the fuck is going on? And that's the energy you need in this society, because we live in a society.
we really, as a country, need to take a look at our education system. I think we can all agree that there needs to be a lot of change in the system, right? And look at how we can build a system that represents, reflects, validates
Why is she dressed like a ghost from Outlast?
the experiences and identities of everybody.
Beautiful. That's good, girl.
John Zherka, what about yay? Because Trump is becoming rhino. Yeah, that's like adopting a loser mindset, dude. Okay? I see everyone ditching Trump for a losing campaign. And that's scary to me. That it's like, hey, we'd rather lose sounding like yay than having a fighting chance with Trump. Like, that's scary to me. That's terrifying. It's like, don't ever do that to me here, okay? Stop, okay? Unless you think Ye can be president, then look at the dude. They farm people who are dying on this channel. Are you kidding me? I'm not even clicking that. That's just sad. I'm a genius.
Hi, my name is Tanmay Bakshi.
How old are you?
I'm 19 years old. I just turned 19 a couple days ago.
How can you be called a genius so early?
I personally don't really like to use that word. What are some of your biggest accomplishments? When I was 9, I had my first iOS app published to the App Store called T-Tables to, help kids learn their times tables.
Nice.
I found this documentary of IBM Watson.
Do you let your wife get banged by other dudes, Mr. Genius? Or are you sweating? That's a simple question for you, isn't it?
If you've heard of Watson playing Jeopardy. So I started messing around with the different IBM Watson AI services because they made those public on their cloud. And I actually found a bug in one of their services back when I was 11.
That's so funny.
I've authored 4 books on the world of technology. That's something I love to do. Working on applications all the way from analyzing your brainwaves to give people the ability to communicate artificially to working with McDonald's at IBM right now, using machine learning to take your orders in the drive-thru.
No wonder you're called a genius.
I was thinking back what I was doing at those ages. I was like, yeah. I was watching That's So Raven at 12. Oh my goodness.
Only a genius would wear a t-shirt with a blazer.
So many questions now. Did you ever feel like you were already different than other kids, or did people tell you you were different?
I remember back when I was a kid.
My wife's boyfriend told me I was a genius. That's the first time that, I don't like to use that term for myself, but that's the first time that I had somewhat of a speculation that maybe I was different.
And I would go to my friend's house and I'd be like, what's a fun activity? We should try writing some code. I should teach you how to code. And so it took me a while to realize that that's not something that people are generally as interested in as I am.
I think I did web in high school and coding, oh my goodness. I was so frustrated with all the carrots. It's like JavaScript, no bueno.
A long time ago, I took coding classes, but I guess I just dropped out because it was really boring.
And how old are you, Chelsea?
I'm 11 years old, not to be called a genius. Too young.
How do you personally define intelligence, and do you think that it can truly be quantified?
Intelligence is really hard, if not basically impossible, to quantify into one metric. Take IQ scores as an example. They are still used as this way of making people feel inferior or superior in a way that really doesn't matter.
I work in a Title I low-income school, and it never paints the full...
Yikes. If feminists were 100%
Abortion is murder,
honest.
and I still support it. 3, 2, 1.
I don't want to get flamed for this, but I have a rationale.
What if you could speak your mind
Yikes.
without fear of judgment? We brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities, and created a space for them to be completely honest. What will be revealed when they take the mask off?
I have slut-shamed someone.
Hell yeah, I have. I mean, I probably did it last week. You know what I mean? Like, I think I don't do it to people's faces, but like, misogyny runs so deep. I'm gonna think bad things about a girl that's prettier than me.
Really?
I'm gonna,
I've
like,
never
oh,
done
she's
that.
like-
You're clearly a bad
I went
person.
to Catholic school.
That's
We
why
were
you
forced to
sound
sign
like the
chastity
devil
cards, like
in
physical
hell right
cards.
now.
We had the whole presentations where they literally would like wrap a present and then like rip it apart and kick it and be like,
Literally?
"This is what happens when you have sex before marriage." And like, I was definitely kind of a to some of my like first friends who had been like having sex for a while or whatever. It's definitely partially a product of like religion and the way that this whole country is tied into Protestantism and everything as well.
When I was in the 8th grade, there was this girl, my friend group, they would slut shame her because she was always like hypersexual. And once me and her got close, I found out that she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, like every hypersexual human being, all right? There's no such thing as a hypersexual human being that has not been assaulted. That's never in the history ever happened, okay?
And so, you know, ever since she told me her story, I stopped slut shaming. Even if I don't agree with what someone is doing, I just say that is their business and they will take it up with God on their judgment day. It don't got nothing to do with me.
I've used my sexuality for personal gain.
Here we go. Oh,
Listen,
look at
if
that.
I'm gonna be oppressed for it, I'm gonna use it to my advantage when I want to. Like, it's something that is unavoidable.
Okay, I think I misunderstood this question. Okay, so I like it. I'm gonna flip it. Oh. I was like, okay, got it. All right.
My whole life I felt like I was sexualized. And I was an early bloomer too, so I felt like I was constantly sexualized as a child. And when I got like past like losing my virginity and then
Yeah,
being
only disgusting people are early bloomers with puberty, okay? You know when I started liking girls, I was 17 and a half. It was very late. Just into gaming and that's it.
rude and then being assaulted, and I got to the age where I was like, that's so f***ed up that it was kind of like a revelation for myself, being like, if it's what'll get me like what I need, I'll use it. Yeah, you know, like if I'm gonna get catcalled, I might as well get something out of it.
Like not monetary personal gain, but internal personal gain.
Money
Like,
is your
fitting
god.
in, getting positive reinforcement, that sort of thing. I still feed into the insecurity of if I'm not getting that, like
Jesus
what am I
hates
worth?
you, bro.
And I feel like that's very dangerous. I'll be, you know, getting dressed for a night out or to go out, and I'm like, why am I wanting to dress a certain way? What kind of attention do I really want to get?
Not all women should be believed.
Okay, I'm gonna start here and then go and then figure out if I change it later. I'm automatically switching. I rethought this.
I think that the first thing that jumped into my head that made me like go with, like I agree with this, is all those stupid ass white women that call the cops irresponsibly and without reason and stuff like that. That's sort of where my logic went in on this. Not so
Yeah, because when it's white, it's bad, right?
much regarding like SA and stuff like that, because I
Yeah.
would support any woman.
Really? What about Ghislaine Maxwell? Do you believe her? After she raped all those children on Epstein Island? And since you support all women, you want to hear her out. You're supporting rape now because you're a liberal. That's where your ideology, that's the end of your ideology, really, right? Believe all women. Now you're believing in Jeffrey Epstein's best friend.
And even if she's lying, I'm still gonna believe her.
I feel like there's like a line.
What the fuck does that mean?
Obviously, believe all women when it comes to, you know, sexual assault. But then there's like the line that like knowing that people are bad. You know, there are people who want to do harm, and if they're a woman, then it sucks. You know, I guess why I went with this is to say not immediately saying no right away, and to be like, okay, here we are, this happened, let's talk about it.
You know, I think for me it comes from the misogynistic like idea that a lot of women just like lie because they're like Jezebels and you know, like they're just we're just like tricksters for some reason. Like a lot of people, specifically men, think like, oh well, they're just saying it to get
Oh,
fame
no,
or
women
fortune
never
or whatever.
lie.
And I'm like, can you name one of the people that Bill Cosby assaulted? No. My initial, similar to you, is just like, yes, like I want to hear what this woman has to say because I've been lied to way more by men in my life than by women.
Canceling men is necessary for progress.
I feel like it's a double-edged sword. I'm not necessarily pro cancel culture, but I'm pro holding people accountable. But I feel like with canceling men, I feel like we saw this a lot with who was it, Andrew Tate? It was really good that we were bringing attention to it, and women saw how much of a scumbag he was, and I feel like a good amount of men did too, but at the same time, it became kind of like a joke. It became entertainment for men.
I agree with like accountability for sure. I feel like canceling someone or canceling a singer or a rapper or whatever, just like not listening to their music or not supporting them. But like men as a system, that's like not possible. They hold the power. So like not, you know, engaging with them isn't gonna like progress us any further. We have to engage with them to progress further.
You need to be able to convert
Because men rule the world.
with the issue to have the issue fixed. Like, because if you like run to cancel someone, then they're going to be defensive and not learn anything from it. Like if somebody really and truly, I think, should be canceled like fully, they should just be like convicted, like put behind bars. Like there is a crime, a real crime.
Sometimes jail doesn't even work because like Bill Cosby's out of jail. Like he got out on a technicality.
It's exactly, I don't trust the system. I as much as the example I'm currently always going back to is the Brock Turner case. Because if you know, he raped a girl and he got 6 months probation, served 3 of it. And the way I've seen cancel culture help in that case, I feel like sometimes cancel culture can step in where the law and our government and our judicial system fail.
Abortion is murder, and I still support it.
I feel like it's a really weird question in a way.
That's interesting.
I
didn't think of the phrasing of the question.
I don't want to get flamed for this.
No, but
I have a rationale. Yeah. So I 100%, anybody that wants an abortion should have full access, no barriers, everything. I think, and I'm not even sure I agree with saying that it's murder, but I think that sometimes people talk about abortion very callously and ignore the like trauma that is associated with it, even if you have zero regrets, like it's the best decision you've ever made in your life. Women that I've, you know, listened to and heard from and read, you know, opinions from, it's still like a traumatic experience. I don't know, I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say, but I think just the weight of it now has been lessened a little bit. I think that is shifting back again though because of the awful recent events. But I would say for the past like 5 years or so, I've just heard it in my own community is like tossed around lightly, and I don't necessarily think that it should be handled really lightly.
I agree with like the latter half of this statement. I feel like it's like, if it were to be considered murder, I would still support it.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, then yeah, I would say so. Because it's not, it's still, even if it is murder, it's not an easy choice. Like, that makes it even more of a difficult conversation, you know? It's like such a deeper thing.
This question is actually making me really emotional because I just gave birth in February, and I love my son. He's like my world, but thank you. I recently thought I was pregnant again, and I'm not in a position to have another baby right now. Any baby I think I want to keep, but I knew if I was pregnant this one, I wouldn't have been able to keep. So, and I just know, like some people who I know, they wouldn't have understood it. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
And that's the reality, you know? It's not like people are maliciously trying to, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a choice, and am I going to be able to provide for myself and my already born child? Or, you know, is this going to be healthy for my mental health? It's not like you are maliciously trying to destroy a clump of cells. It's your life, and that matters more than, in my opinion, than any kind of potential baby.
Absolutely. I feel like because of this, of the dissolve of Roe v. Wade, like,
all of this trauma just to get off. Like when you think of what casual sex is, it's just to get off. I'm horny. I got rid of it. All this trauma because of casual. Like, jeez. Just to get off. That's like a dog, dude. It's like a dog needs a nut.
I feel like I don't even want to try to have kids anymore. Like they're doing the opposite thing to us. There are so many women who want to try, but we've heard the stories of women who have miscarriages and go in and try to get seen by a doctor and say, we can't do that, so we call your lawyer. And I have so many health issues. I have endometriosis, I have PCOS. Like I have everything under the female sun that could exist. I could very easily carry a pregnancy that's not good. I could very easily die from a poly pregnancy. And the fear that if for one day this expanded and reached where I live, I could die, you know? And it's so scary.
And it deters women like me who are on the fence from even wanting to have kids.
The future isn't female.
As much as I want to fight for it, I see this misogyny in my brothers, and my father even told me when I was in high school. I asked him, I said, "Do you think men are superior to women?" And he said, "Yeah," to my face. I'm as
No shit.
eldest daughter, his only daughter, so that hurts, and to see that, it puts a really gray tone over the world for you.
I guess I'm super radical, and I'm like, just end all of this stuff. And so I feel like feminism is for the time being. I want to end gender as a whole, because I think it's binding and it's oppressive. So I feel like the future is neither female nor male.
I don't know. I do like the concept of gender because to some degree, it is not who we are as a whole, but it does make us. I like identifying as a woman. And also, I'll challenge that by saying who are going to be the ones to be the voices for queer people and non-binaries, because it's not going to be cis hetero men. That's true. It's going to be women. Yeah.
We're going to have you put your masks back on. Thank you so much.
So what's the point of being anonymous? Now we know exactly who they are. That last scene is so stupid. This is degen, man. Yeah, I'm going to bed. This is just too much, dude. I'll do this tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow, I promise. Okay. Here, I'll give you some good stuff. I'll give you some good stuff to cheer you guys up, okay? Here's my YouTube channel. Go like everything and get me on the algorithm. And go watch all the new shit. And fuck with me, because I fuck with you. I fuck with you, chat. And recently, chat, I had an abortion through my stomach. And, I love you.